Well. Good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my crackly voice or watching me on any social media stream via YouTube or Facebook, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Good afternoon, Michael White. I see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're just days away from the May primaries in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. And before I get started on the ballot questions, because I'm doing it at the beginning of every show and at the end of every show, I want to share something with you. I try to be as transparent as I possibly can on the airwaves with you. Of course, I have friends that I talk to privately about things that are going on in my head. And one of the things that I know for certain is that when I have a visceral reaction to someone or something, I have a cadre of friends around me that I can pick up the phone and call and say, I'm feeling a certain kind of way about this. Am I crazy, right? Because what I always want to make sure, and I try to do this even here on WURD radio, is to make sure that I am not moving off of my own opinion, off my own visceral reactions and my thoughts and feelings, right? So it allows me to grow. And so they'll walk me through it and say, yep, this was, no, or you're right on target with this. But I'm telling you this because we all need checks and balances in our lives, right? All of us. When we start to believe that we have arrived and no one can correct us or make us think things a different way or look at it from a different point of view, then we're lost, right? We're absolutely lost because then we get caught up and we think we're everything and everybody should do everything for us. And so today I want to thank my friends. I talked to two of them today. Been struggling with a couple of things and I'm like, am I crazy? And so they helped me. They helped me to take a deep breath, sit back and think, because, you know, I am on this air with all of you, and some days I get off the air and I'm like, whoa, it's a lot. It's a lot to process. I talk to you all about carrying, write everything that we talk about on the air every day. I have books and books and books. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of thinking. I think about what I say. Sometimes I let my zip fly because, you know, there are things on my mind, but for the most part, I try to hear all of you out, and I make sure that you all feel heard when you call this radio show. And so I just wanted to take that little bit of time to tell you all, you know, we all have visceral thoughts and feelings to certain people and things and places. I want us to think them through before we react off of those feelings, which could cause us to have angst that are not necessary because we didn't think it through or talk it through with other people. Anyway, moving on. We have the May primaries coming up. Again, you know, these shows leading up to the elections belong to the people of Philadelphia. You get to call in and talk about what's on your mind as it applies to these elections, what's going on in the community, the gun violence, education, etc. We have 4 ballot questions that I see here. Should Pennsylvania strip the governor's disaster declaration powers? Should Pennsylvania amend its constitution to prohibit discrimination based on race and ethnicity? And should Pennsylvania fire departments and EMS companies be able to apply for loans? And should Philadelphia expand the board that hears appeals on property violations and firearm permits? I'm going to read the ballot question for you for the second one, which was, should Pennsylvania amend its constitution to prohibit discrimination based on race and ethnicity? It's a ballot question. Up for the voters' consideration on the May primary ballot is a measure that would protect Pennsylvanians from discrimination on racial or ethnic lines. Yes, that right is essentially guaranteed by broader laws at the state and federal level already. But the initiative would amend the state constitution to confirm and reinforce the ideas, formally enshrining them in the Commonwealth's governing document. What you'll see on the ballot is this. Shall the Pennsylvania Constitution be amended by adding a new section providing that equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged because of an individual's race or ethnicity? What this really means is that Philadelphia State Senator Vincent Hughes proposed this ballot question as protests over racial justice were erupting last summer. Discrimination based on race is cooked into the DNA of this nation, and we must take action to explicitly prohibit racial and ethnic discrimination in Pennsylvania's Constitution, Hughes said at the time. If voters pass the measure, it will add a new section to Article 1 of the Pennsylvania Constitution, creating a prohibition against denying an individual equal rights because of their race or ethnicity. There are already non-discrimination clauses in the document, plus federal laws like the Equal Protection Clause, but this would prohibit racial discrimination explicitly at the state level. Though the initiative has broad support, some have argued in the past that similar measures could open the door for so-called reverse racism complaints, that is, white people claiming they have been discriminated against. And if they feel like they have been discriminated against, then they have a right to talk about it. Anti-discrimination is for everybody, not just for some people, right? So, thank you, Malcolm, and good afternoon, Gloria Gainey. I see you all. I see you there. Thank you so much. So that was the first one. The second one is, should Pennsylvania strip the governor's disaster declaration powers? That is a ballot question. Let me find the question. This is what you'll see on the ballot. Question 1. Shall the Pennsylvania Constitution be amended to change existing law and increase the power of the General Assembly to unilaterally terminate or extend a disaster emergency declaration and the powers of the Commonwealth agencies to address the disaster, regardless of its severity, pursuant to that declaration, through passing a concurrent resolution by simple majority, thereby removing the existing check and balance of presenting a resolution to the governor for approval or disapproval? And the question number 2 says, shall the Pennsylvania Constitution be amended to change existing law so that a disaster emergency declaration will expire automatically after 21 days, regardless of the severity of the emergency, unless the General Assembly takes action to extend the disaster emergency? The governor may not declare a new disaster emergency to respond to the dangers facing the Commonwealth unless the General Assembly passes a concurrent resolution. The General Assembly enacts new laws for disaster management. And so what this means, if passed, is that the constitutional amendment would allow a majority of lawmakers in the General Assembly to end a disaster declaration at any time without the governor's consent. As it stands right now, state law gives the governor sole authority to terminate a disaster declaration. And so you want to pay attention to those ballot questions and do not ignore them. Please, please, please do not ignore them, right? So that's that for that. You already know there's a district attorney election going on. There are judicial elections happening at the state level, in Philadelphia, locally, and at the state level. And so we want to make sure that the people who are running for judge for those judicial seats are people we can trust with our lives, with their pen, and with their opinions, as they follow the law as it applies to all the citizens of Pennsylvania, not just some of them. And so there we are with that, right? So there's a lot going on out here. You do know there is the election has the district attorney's office. Larry Krasner will be on tomorrow with Carlos Vega. He will be interviewed by Charles Ellison, Joanne Bell, and Solomon Jones from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. right here on WURD. I almost said WHYY because I'm looking at Eric Marsh in this WHYY commercial on WURD radio, and I'm looking forward to all of you paying attention and hoping that the questions will be asked that you want to have answered. So there we are against that. Let's see what else is going on. So that's it for that piece. You can call in 215-634-8065 if you'd like to talk to me today. It's 111. Pennsylvania Republicans, the Philadelphia Inquirer wrote this piece. Pennsylvania Republicans make an opening bid for election changes. We have a god-awful law, they says. Republicans outlined a sweeping set of changes they hope to negotiate in time for next year's elections when open races for governor and U.S. Senate will be on the ballot. This was written by Jonathan Lay and Andrew Seidman. As Republican lawmakers across the country have moved to tighten voting laws after former President Donald Trump's lies about a stolen election, Pennsylvania's GOP-controlled legislature has waited to act during months of hearings. Now, Republicans in Harrisburg are making their first moves, with the State House GOP releasing a report Monday that outlines a sweeping set of changes they hope to negotiate in time for next year's elections, when open races for governor and U.S. Senate will be on the ballot. The 99-page report from Representative Seth Grove, Republican from York, chair of the House State Government Committee, summarizes testimony from elections administrators, advocates, and policy experts the committee gathered during the 10 hearings. We have a god-awful election law. I am not going to sugarcoat it, Grove said in an interview Monday before the report's release. How do we improve access? We need to make voting easier and harder to cheat. How do we make sure we have full accessibility for those who are legally allowed to vote, with the right security, integrity provisions put in there to make sure that you have a secure election, minimizing any disenfranchisement? So this is happening. The Wolf administration didn't comment on Monday. Democrats in Harrisburg have generally approached the issue with skepticism, noting that dozens of state GOP lawmakers signed letters urging Congress to reject President Joe Biden's victory in Pennsylvania. Among the signatories was Grove, who has since said he accepts the election results. And so, let me just look and see what Michael is saying to me here, because he just texted me. You know what? There is 5 questions on the ballot. I see 4 here. I'm going to find the 5th one. A caller called in from Mount Airy and said that she has 5 questions, not 4, on her mail-in ballot. I think I missed one. I have to. I did, Michael. I missed one. I'm hearing that there is 5. I see here in this thing that was sent to us that there are 4 ballot questions. So I want to make sure that there's one that we're missing. There's one that we're missing. That caller is absolutely right. Thank you for calling in. So the ideas in the report that the GOP legislature want to do to change before next year's election is increase uniformity around election policies and procedures, including by having more explicit language in state law and reducing the amount of administrative guidance issued by the Pennsylvania Department of State, which oversees elections, eliminating the permanent list that voters can sign up to receive mail ballot applications every year, and has led to voter confusion and created significant administrative burdens for county elections office, banning or limiting third-party mailing of mail ballot applications and voter registration forms, requiring post-election audits to be conducted by a third party, such as the State Auditor General, restoring an earlier voter registration deadline of 30 days before Election Day. Current law, changed in 2019, allows people to register up to 15 days before an election. Establishing earlier mail ballot deadlines, which would give voters less time to request a mail ballot, but expand the window between the deadlines and the returning for requesting and returning ballots, a window that is currently so tight it can disenfranchise thousands of voters. Requiring signature verification for all mail ballots, which the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled last fall isn't required under existing law, and implementing stricter voter ID rules, with all eligible voters able to receive a free compliant identification. Current law requires voters show identification when voting for the first time at a precinct in person. And so they go on and on and on. So that's what's happening with the Pennsylvania Republicans. That's what they're trying to change right now. There's another piece written by the Philadelphia Inquirer today, and this is an opinion piece that someone wrote. He says, let me just make sure. Will Bunch wrote this. Columnist Will Bunch wrote this. Police robbed these black men of their lives too, but we're not talking about this. Scores of black men have spent decades in prisons for crimes they didn't commit due to racist policing practices. We must find and free more of them. It was nearly 50 weeks ago that the Minneapolis murder of an unarmed black man, George Floyd, under the knee of then police officer Derek Chauvin, finally put the issue of police killings in America on the front burner. Today, Will Bunch says, millions of Americans can say the names of so many others who died unnecessarily, such as Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, Breonna Taylor, Dante Wright, Elijah McClain, and Andrew Brown Jr. The gross injustice has spurred calls to ban chokeholds, reduce traffic stops, and take other strong measures. Yet, far fewer Americans who marched for racial justice in 2020 know the names of the black men pictured at the top of this column: Jimmy Dennis, Anthony Wright, Terrence Lewis, Chester Holman III, Theophilus Bilal Wilson. These men each lost their liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and more than 20 years of life wasting behind prison bars, and it all happened in the city where the Declaration of Independence was written and signed. Each was wrongfully convicted of a murder he didn't commit, aided by a racist system of cops who coerced confessions or hid exonerating evidence, and prosecutors who cared more about a guilty verdict than the truth. When we talk about police shootings, we know the grim numbers that cops kill 1,000 or more people every year across America, including at least 135 unarmed black men and women since 2015. Yet criminal justice experts believe the number of citizens behind bars for crimes they did not commit, especially black people, predominantly men, charged with murder or other serious crimes, is greater, although harder to quantify. In Philadelphia, arguably the cradle of lost liberty, just a city of 1.5 million in a nation of 331 million, at least 24 men once convicted of murder have walked out of prison in the last 5 years, with much more cases in the pipeline. Nationally, not every person ensnared in this justice machine is as lucky, if that's the right word, as the 5 men in the picture. In Arkansas, family members of Liddell Lee spent years pushing for DNA testing of a bloody club used in a woman's 1993 murder for which Lee had been convicted and sentenced to death. This year, the test found a different man's DNA, exonerating the evidence that came 4 years too late for Liddell Lee, who was executed in 2017 as state officials were accused of racing to use lethal execution drugs before they ran out. Just the invention of the smartphone has offered America visual proof of rampant police brutality that would have easily covered up before the 21st century, and the rise of DNA technology has been critical in showing that wrongful convictions for violent crimes like murder or rape are far more common than once believed, and yet we still tend to treat these stories as isolated breakdowns or even as tragic mistakes, not as the systemic racism they present. Lots going on here. Just last week in Philadelphia, a 38-year-old man named Obinna Onaya, who'd signed a confession after an 8-hour interrogation for a 2010 robbery and double murder, was exonerated after spending 10 years locked up. Onaya's claim that he had been beaten by homicide detectives was backed up by his girlfriend, who was outside the interrogation room and who told a judge in 2013 that she'd heard thumping sounds and Onaya's plea for help, but the judge still allowed the confession as evidence. Only recently did the Conviction Integrity Unit in the Philadelphia DA's office review video that proved the killer was 4 inches shorter than Onaya. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on out here, and we're talking about some of it. This was a piece written in the Philadelphia Inquirer by Will Bunch, an opinion piece, who is a columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Between family dinners, bedtime stories, and study sessions, Pico knows that life never stops moving. So if you need help paying your energy bills, there are financial programs available, like the Customer Assistance Program, or CAP, that offers a monthly credit that can lower your gas and electricity payments. Learn how Pico can help keep your life moving with CAP. See if you qualify at pico.com/CAP.
Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. A second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
Word on politics. As we approach the Pennsylvania primary, join incumbent District Attorney Larry Krasner and his challenger, former homicide prosecutor Carlos Vega, as they square off in a live broadcast debate Wednesday, May 12th at 1 p.m. Presented by WURD Radio. Moderated by Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check, Solomon Jones of Wake Up with WURD, and Joanne Bell of the Black Women's Leadership Council. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from the candidates for District Attorney. Wednesday, May 12th at 1 p.m. Exclusively on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I got to tell you, the WURD listeners are amazing. Miss Shea Pugh, and I think I talked about it yesterday, Miss Shea, but it's not on this piece that I'm reading today. There are 5 ballot questions, she says. Question number 5, proposed charter change, bill number 210073, approved March 10th, 2021. Ballot question, shall the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter be amended to provide for an expanded board of license inspection review that can hear and decide cases in 3-member panels? Yes. I talked about that yesterday, so I don't know how I'm missing that.
Yep.
Right now, we'll have our regular 2 o'clock, 1:20 guest on Tuesdays. Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller is the senior pastor of Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I am good. So let me start here with you. Yesterday, someone from the black clergy called in to talk about the...
Okay.
Now, see, if people are listening on the radio, they missed this whole thing that we just did. That was so funny. Let me just tell you what they said, and we can move on about the district attorney's race. And they want to encourage people to come out and vote. They're asking people to vote for Larry Krasner. They believe that there's some, for lack of a better expression, some shenanigans happening around this race, and they wanted people to know that coming out to vote is extremely important right now. What would you like to add to that, sir, if anything? Now you can take off your glasses.
Yeah. I think I stand with the rest of the clergy, and I think they're responsible people. Sometimes it's a question of the devil, and I think we got to, and I've said this before, some of the progressive liberal policies that are coming from Krasner's good heart are also helping to not stem this tide of violence. Okay. And I want to say that very carefully. But I believe that his heart is in the right direction, and the direction of progressive policies are in the direction that we need to be going. And so I would rather work with and struggle with the devil that we know than to see this strong-armed FOP thing that is trying to force the other candidate in. Okay. And we know what's on the other side of that. But that's why we have to stay critical in this process, because even on this liberal progressive side, we need to talk about how we walk and chew gum at the same time. There are, and I always go back to the Morgan Freeman movie Lean on Me, when Joe Clark went into the school in Paterson, New Jersey. Lots of reforms, lots of change, lots of education, but it did also include weeding out those that were doing wrong. And that has to be a part of this conversation, not a main part. And, so, whether we're talking about cops on spots or persons that get arrested, really getting some time. And I need to be real careful how I say that, because I'm not trying to, promote mass incarceration or anything like that. But we have to walk and chew gum at the same time and recognize that some of this is, there was a quote one time that says, sometimes it's possible to be so open-minded that your mind is too porous to hold a conviction. And so we've got to find that fine line, but I don't think that line is on the other side with this old hard line law and order argument.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of points that I'd like to make. We knew before Larry Krasner came into office. I just read a piece from a columnist from the Philadelphia Inquirer, Will Bunch, who talked about these 5 men who were locked up in Philadelphia for murder, crimes that they did not commit, and that he believes that there's so many more of them that are locked up. So a lot of these convictions have been overturned based on bad testimony that Larry Krasner's office unearthed, quote unquote. Right?
That's right.
Where has he, in your opinion, been too liberal or too soft? If he came in to help reverse the damage that folks are saying was created, because I remember when he was running in the very beginning 4 years ago, people wanted a progressive reform district attorney, right?
That's right.
So they got him. So where, in your opinion, do you think this is causing him an issue now, so that we have folks like, city council people kind of waffling, not really saying if they're supporting him or not, just a lot of stuff, and people are talking about this?
Well, I think that it's the issue, and first of all, we have to admit that this issue is complex, it is difficult, it is hard, and what we may be dealing with is perception and the bureaucracy, because the perception is this, and I do some work up on State Road, and I have heard fellas talking about, well, I'm in here on Larry's special, and, they're expecting to not be held long, expecting to get out, expecting to get off, so it has produced in the street this thought that you just don't get in trouble for anything. And while I get it, I completely understand it, and I want to be very careful not to sound like the old mean preacher who's on the side of the white man, because that's not where I am. But what is a perspective, it is the surety of punishment, not the severity of punishment, that works in, parenting or any rules, not the severity. So that doesn't mean everybody doesn't have to get 40 years, and we don't need the death penalty, and we don't need all, but the surety, the surety that if this is, and if I am guilty, that something's going to happen, but also the surety that if I'm innocent, I'm going to be able to get off, which we as Black men don't tend to have when we bump into this system. So wanting to build a fair system from the inside out is what we want. Right now, we probably can get closer to that truth with Krasner than not. But if we're leaning anywhere, it seems as if we're leaning to a permissive side that is aiding the gun violence. But it's not fair to put it all on his feet, because all of this, we got to talk about, underfunding of schools. We got to talk about opportunity for jobs. We got to talk about all of the issues that are conflated and that come together to cause the problem in the street. So what I think we have to make sure is that we don't put it all in his lap, because it's in the lap of the church, it's in the lap of the mosque, it's in the lap of the family, it's in the lap of city council, it's in the mayor's lap, it's in all of our lap, and this is one piece of that puzzle.
Right. So there's that race, excuse me. And then there are the judicial races. But let's talk about the ballot questions. Let's talk about them. What are the ballot questions that you have in front of you, sir?
Yeah, well, of course, those first two ballot questions that they're focused on the limiting of the governor's ability to issue a disaster declaration. And what we need to understand about those first two questions, this is a Republican legislature trying to just snip away at the governor's power. This is a part of a larger strategy that you're seeing all over the country. Right now, the only reason that Pennsylvania has not gone the way of Texas and Georgia in terms of the voter suppression attempts is because we have a Democratic governor. If we didn't have him in there right now, we would be dealing with the same voter suppression tactics and issues that we're seeing in Georgia and Texas. So you need to recognize that things like this will just keep nipping away at that. Then, of course, the third question is supporting, and we need to say yes, to prohibit discrimination on the basis of race and ethnicity. And this is more of making sure that Pennsylvania lives up to 15th Amendment, basically 14th, 15th Amendment. So I think it's important. And the reason that we have to say this, it would seem obvious, but the reason we need to call attention to this is because the culture in our area is that things tend to pass because we tend as a culture to say yes to questions that make it to the ballot. And so we need to help people understand you can't go in there and just say yes because it's there. We need you to say no to the first two and say yes to protecting on discrimination. And so that's why I think it's important to remind people that one thing that did happen is we don't have straight party tickets, and you have to read every question. And quite frankly, the Republican move to split the ticket was for the very reason that lots of people are used to just walking in, pushing one button, and voting straight party. And when that gets lost, there were many people who went in and just voted for the president and didn't vote for anything else down line, which then gave an edge to the enemy.
Agreed. So the other thing that I think is dangerous are the people who vote and don't answer the ballot questions.
That's right.
Essentially giving your consent to. So I don't want people to think that if I don't answer the questions, I'm safe. Not answering the questions actually opens the door for whoever wants to make those questions, those measures pass. You know, because the less people that vote for it, and the more that vote and just press yes, 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 will cause an issue. The judicial elections are also on the ballot, sir. What are your thoughts around that, and what should people know, in your opinion?
Well, I think that what people should know is that there are 16 people running. There are 8 opportunities. And the last time we had this type of opportunity, the number of Black judges that were elected was 0. In Philadelphia, the number of Black people getting elected was 0. And so I think we have an opportunity. We've seen enough about the system to know if we get opportunities to put Black people on jury, to put Black people on the bench, or to put Black people at the bar, it is important. And so this is an opportunity to do so. And just people need to recognize we need representation, and this is an opportunity to do so.
Last Wednesday, I had an invited any Black judge in the Philadelphia, Montgomery, Bucks, and Delaware County to come on to a show with the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, and I had quite a cadre of them. It was interesting. It was good because they were on for a couple of hours, and they were able to discuss things that they wouldn't ordinarily get time to talk about. So we got to get an inside view of who they were as people, which was really, really good. I fully appreciated Kathy Hicks for giving me that opportunity to interview all those judges. I think I'm going to do a couple more tomorrow, but they don't often have the funding, right, to pay out the kinds of monies that would be needed for them. And it costs about $150,000, I'm told, to run for these seats. Lord, it's just easier to sit in the host chair.
There's a whole lot going on in the city of Philadelphia when it comes to that.
Right? So one of the things that I learned, because, again, I am doing all my research, I am learning that they have to go pay the ward leaders a certain amount of money. You know, it's just a lot. And I asked if it was illegal, and they were like, no, it's unsavory, but it's not illegal. And that a couple of people have tried. That's what I was told. And a couple of people have tried to shut it down so that that's not happening. But, you know, the more you learn, I'm telling you, I was telling them yesterday on the radio, it's exhausting. It's just exhausting absorbing all of that information and trying to stay in a path of not taking sides, right? And just really hearing people when I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it, but God bless you. This is your lot in life. So there's that. So there are billions, millions of dollars coming towards this city.
Yes.
And to the state. Talk to me about that, because I think people still don't understand what that means for the average citizen, A, and B, what does that mean for the city itself in terms of goods and services?
Well, good. Thank you. The American Recoveries Act, that is sending literally billions. There'll be about $1.2 billion that come from the federal government into our state, into our city. Number one, what that means is that deficit that we had, that, what was it, roughly $200 million deficit that the city was going to have, can be filled up. That's why we need to pay attention to the mayor's budget right now, because that money comes back from the federal government. That means all those holes can be filled. So the things that city council and the mayor were telling us they didn't have money for last year because of the pandemic, they can't say that now because that money is here. So we need to fight, and we need to, and when I say fight, we need to advocate, lobby for those things that are important to us. That means there's an opportunity to get the amount of funding necessary to fix these school buildings. That means there's an opportunity to get funding for recs, parks and recreation centers. That means there's opportunity for funding for summer jobs. All of that is coming through this money. The governor right now has a budget that in its present form could cause all state monies to run through the fair funding formula, which will give Philadelphia approximately 200 to 300 million new dollars for education, just because the right amount of money is coming through that formula. So those are dollars that can help us do the reverse commuting that is happening to Philadelphia. You know, there's a whole city being built out by King of Prussia. And so lots of people live in Philly but work outside of Philadelphia. And, you know, right now we want to see people want to come back to Philadelphia in terms of where they work and where their dollars are being spent. You know, I'm not necessarily going to get mad at somebody for where they live, but there is something to be said for how our economy impacts Philadelphia.
Right.
And so, and, you know, lots of businesses now, lots of companies have found out that their workers can stay home.
Yes.
They learned over the last year that a lot of people can work in the home, but we need to think about just how much of that happens.
Right.
You know, the Wanamaker building had a lot of HUP in it. And we need to make sure that somebody still has to come back in town and work in Wanamaker and produce an economy for those who are street vendors and those who have other stores. And so this is an unprecedented time, almost unprecedented back to the New Deal. I mean, that's how big $1.2 billion coming to Philadelphia. It can be a game changer for schools. It can be a game changer for job opportunities. It can be a game changer for cleaning up the city. That's what that means. And it means that we all need to pay attention to the budget, what city council is doing
It's
with that budget.
696 pages long.
Yeah. And
Because I started reading it, it has become my bedtime story. God help me.
now the big thing that we need to keep our eye on is one of the ballot questions from November that they're working on, and that is the Citizens Police Oversight
Site Commission.
Commission.
All right, hold on one second, Pastor Walter. Let me take
Yes.
a quick break, and then we can talk about that.
Yeah, I
And
really
have
want to talk
another-
about that.
Okay, all right, hold on. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
We do all we can to ensure our kids are happy, healthy, safe, and strong. Having high-quality, low-cost health insurance helps make that possible. With CHIP, your child can have medical, dental, eye care, and more for free or low cost. Whether you're self-employed, unemployed, or your employee benefits are just too expensive, CHIP is there for you to help your child be strong. CHIP Strong. Apply or renew today at 800-986-KIDS or go to chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Philadelphia, it's State Representative Joanna McClinton. The stakes in this year's district attorney's race couldn't be higher. For decades, the DA's office devastated black communities through brutal punishment while never holding police accountable. DA Larry Krasner has changed that in just 3 short years, while his opponent spent 35 years relentlessly pushing the policies that destroyed our communities. We cannot let him take us back. We have everything to lose. We must keep moving forward. Vote now, vote early, vote Krasner for DA on May the 18th.
Paid for by Krasner for DA.
From safe to seamless, convenient to contactless, and local to express, SEPTA is the Philly way to go. Plan your trip at iseptaphilly.com.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison of Reality Check and City Council Live. Still feeling a bit worn out from the 2020 election? We're not done yet. 2021 is another important year when locally you have the power to pick Philadelphia's district attorney. Who will it be? The current DA and incumbent Larry Krasner or former assistant DA and challenger Carlos Vega? What we know is this is a closely watched bellwether on the future of issues such as mass incarceration, policing, and public safety. If you want to have a direct say over these issues, simply vote in the upcoming primary on May 18th. If you have your mail-in ballot, you can vote by mail starting May 11th. More information can be found at the Philadelphia City Commissioner website, phillyvotes.com. Continue to follow at onWURD and hashtag WordOnPolitics for analysis and updates while tuning in to WURD Radio for special election coverage. Don't talk about your vote, cast it.
Stay informed
and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I have on the line my weekly Tuesday afternoon guest, the Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller from Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. My little Jamaican accent sometimes get in the way, child. But we're talking about the election.
What's going on?
Yes. And so it's hard sometimes, I'm pronouncing it, I'm flying along, and then a word stumps me. Like, wow, it's the Jamaican, the consonants, the vowels, all of that. So we've been talking about the elections, the ballot questions, the amount of money that's coming into the state and to the city. And I asked you, what does this mean for the city? You talked about the schools, you talked about, city buildings, et cetera, et cetera. I have 2 questions for you. We want to talk about the Police Oversight Commission, A, and B, what does this mean personally? Because I hear people that say their lives have been impacted. Can they apply for grants, through this funding that's coming through to the city and to the state?
Well, let me answer that in 2 ways. Number one, the CPOC is very important. The Citizens Police Oversight Commission is an outgrowth of the work of Mark Tyler and Mother Bethel and Power to do what other major cities in America are doing and having basically a citizens-run IAB. So basically, that's what it is.
Internal Affairs Bureau.
Internal Affairs Bureau, right. So this will be run by citizens. So we agreed to have it. Now we need to person it and fund it. And we need to watch to make sure that city council does not turn it into a paper tiger. We've agreed to have it, but you can agree to have something, just don't give it any money. We can agree, go out, I just ain't paying the check. And so that is not a date. And so the reality is we've got to make sure that we get that is truly independent, and we need it, and other cities have it. So that's one, and we have to keep our eyes on it because it brings accountability to this process so that in the days to come, you will if there is a police shooting or something like that, you'll have both IAB doing it from the inside, and you'll have these citizens, police oversight doing it from the outside. We may have redundancy there, but redundancy is accountability. And we have to make sure that it's properly funded. And now that these billions of dollars are coming from the federal, it should be able to be funded. Okay. I know that there is a commitment to make monies available for Black and brown businesses. And we should be watching. I know that there are a number of organizations that are committed to making sure that we focus on Black and brown businesses in Philadelphia, getting, startup dollars and liquidity dollars. So I know that that is a major push. There is a major push behind, you've got persons like Della Clark and Steve Saunders and Taib and Sandra Dungy Glenn and I can't remember, Steve Saunders, Taib, they have an organization that is trying to help businesses connect with the funding that will be produced out of this new money coming down. And I would encourage you to have conversations with them. I would encourage you to have conversations with Michael Rashid. Michael Rashid is on the mayor's staff, and he is a person that is responsible for helping us make connections between Black business corridors and this funding that is coming down. Right. So I know that there are opportunities, but the opportunities are going to be for those who are in shape.
Right. So, since I have talked about it ad nauseum, can you just talk about what in shape means? Meaning
you've got to have your business in order. If I'm going to pour water towards you, you got to have your own glass. And I don't want to sound like somebody, a lot of times you'll hear white people say, well, we tried to help, we couldn't find any. There's plenty of people that are in shape. And so we just need to remind people that these dollars come down and we need to be in position to catch them. Right. I remember Kenny Gamble telling the story about the Italian market in South Philly. The Italian market in South Philly is now the Korean market. I mean, we still call it the Italian market, but
has it changed that much?
If you go down there, you'll see there are a lot of Koreans who run a lot of those stores. And Kenny Gamble tells a story about approaching them because, Kenny Gamble has a heart for our community and for the Black community. And when it was changing over, he raised the question, why don't you sell these businesses to Black people? And he tells this story. He says that when the Italians said to him, well, when we were selling, we went to one table and sold these to the Koreans. Where's your table? And
I'm gonna just let that marinate a little bit, because this is another conversation that I was having nationally, Pastor Waller, at a national table where I was sitting, and we hear this. We don't have a solid lobbying group at the national level, right? We only go for instances, we have this issue or that issue, but we don't have a solid lobbying group that will talk about that will encompass all the issues that we have as a Black people. And so as a direct result, we're always left behind. We're never at the table. We're picking up the scraps on the ground. So I get you. I absolutely get you.
And that's a challenge. And to be fair, in Philadelphia, there have been attempts at this. Dr. Malefi Asante and the Asante Institute, that was attempted to be a Black think tank. Because in order to have a lobby, and in order to have representation, first of all, you have to have somebody who's thinking about the issue. Yes. And so Dr. Malefi Asante was trying to help us think Black and act with a global perspective and appreciate our Blackness. But then, and of course, WURD and the Tribune, these are places that call us together to think. Then, if you go back in the history of Philadelphia, you've got the Sam Evans and you've got the family, and you've got those great leaders. There have been attempts locally to pull people together. And I think we need to keep on trying to find that, that thing that transcends religion and transcends our social economic status, and find that common denominator of our Blackness. And there are people attempting to do it. I mean, you're doing it with your program. I think that the Bob Bogles are attempting to do it with the Tribune. I think that, you know, thank God for the Lomax family. I think Kenny Gamble has done a lot, and there are other names, and I want to be very careful. But this is a moment that we do need to have a larger conversation about the Black Chamber of Commerce. We do need to have a larger conversation about how we support Renee Hughes at OIC, or Andrea Custis at Urban League, or how we seek to breathe life into NAACP, and how we, I think this is a moment in history where we need to breathe fresh wind and fresh fire into our traditional organizations, because they're going to be important. They're going to be important. They have regional significance at best. And I think it's important that we recognize we have some good organizations that just need money. So for instance, you asked about what's practical. OIC is an important institution historically in our community. When these $1.2 billion come down into the city, we need to see some of that money make it to OIC. They have historically helped Black people get prepared to get jobs. The Urban League is historically a great organization that builds capacity. So when these dollars come down, we need to make sure that it gets into the hands of a Renee Hughes, or gets into the hands of an Andrea Custis. We need to make sure that we put this in front of people to remind people that these organizations are here to help lift us. And that's the stomping ground where the church and the mosque can meet and not have religious fights, and just let's support our people.
Right. And, you know, and as you're talking about that, we have very few places that's for Black talk, you know, for Black spaces, for us just to have our own space. So I'm thinking the Tribune, WURD Radio, the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, the Scoop, you know, those organizations that have been just lifting and carrying the news for us all day long, every day. I was having a conversation this morning talking about Sarah Lomax Reese and how it cannot be easy for her.
That's right.
To run this radio station, deal with all the personalities, deal with the funding, and how she has to make business decisions. You know, she don't even know. She probably, if she's listening, she'll hear me talking about it now. But you know, when we as radio hosts get into this space of thinking that it's all about us, we have to remember there's a larger picture. Right? And to think about what is at stake for our people and our community. And so, I'm praying that some of that funding goes towards some of these Black-owned businesses, too, that are continuing to elevate our news and our sources to make sure that we get what we need. Pastor Waller, always a pleasure. So here's my last thing for you. I don't get on the air until 2 o'clock next Tuesday. I'd love you to come on to be my correspondent to talk about all things election at 2. Is it possible for you to do it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll make sure we reach out to your people to remind you that at 2 o'clock. So because, you know, you and I, we talk.
I was going to say, I just said yes. What does that mean?
The same things that we talk about every Tuesday, right? You know, what's happening about
Okay, I'll just be out in the street.
Okay, that's fine. The same things we talk about every Tuesday, right? The election. Right. What does that mean? What is happening around the city that we know of at that point? But because, you know, we both stay on the fringes of it. We don't get involved and choose sides. We just give people the facts as we see them, right? Absolutely. So, all right. So we'll reach out to you next Tuesday. Thank you so much, sir. Have a good week, okay?
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
The Sweet Treat Hut is the highest rated juice bar in Philly, located on the corner of 50th and Thompson Streets, providing delicious, healthy vegan food, juices, and smoothies. Treat yourself to a cup of happiness. Call 215-877-1471.
Anthony Wright was wrongfully convicted of murder after he spent over 2 decades in prison. DNA exonerated him. In 2016, Carlos Vega re-prosecuted him anyway.
I was in prison, convicted of a crime that I didn't commit. Every single person that was involved was corrupt. I think about Carlos Vega, I think about the devil, I think about racism.
Vote now. Vote Krasner for DA. Paid for by Lawrence Krasner for District Attorney.
Employers, are you hiring? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. To have your job featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875 or send us an email at sales@wordradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs. This is WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
I'm back to The Source. Now is the time that you guys can call in to me, 215-634-8065. The number, the phone lines are wide open. Let's talk about all things election. What are you thinking about what's happening in and around the city? So we can get through. Oh, here's Michael. Hold on. Mike, I tell you, as soon as I open my mouth to talk, here we go. Lord, George. Good afternoon, George. How are you?
Good afternoon. You know, it's good to go after Pastor Wiley.
Okay.
One thing I like about Pastor Wiley, he's still in his lane, religion, not politics, because he couldn't politics don't get along too well. Andrea, why would you waste your time talking about that police advisory, whatever that foolishness is, you know, that thing with what the mayor pacified Mark Tyler and Holston, whoever else he pacified.
Is this so you don't think
about a board?
So let me ask you something. In your opinion, because this is your opinion.
No, it's not my opinion, my facts.
Okay, George. In your factual opinion, as you know it, you are saying that this is what? Much ado about nothing?
Didn't I tell you the mayor was going to pick his and city council was going to pick theirs? Why would you put somebody on the board that don't pay attention to you or grant your wishes?
Okay.
I mean, it's only common sense in this city. You only put boards and things together to put your people on.
But the people of this city asked for this board. They wanted it, right? So
say it again.
The people of the city passed this ballot measure by asking for this board. So they got the board now.
And Kenny, one thing about Kenny, he gives you exactly what you asked for. Don't mean that it has any substance. It don't mean it has anything to it. He gives you what you asked for. But you got to know how to ask for things when it comes. Now, he went on and pacified all those black preachers and all those people that was making that noise. They can't say he ain't giving what they asked for. Hey, you asked for it, I gave it to you.
Okay. And so what now, George?
One of them had a choice. Not one of them had a choice of putting their people on the board. Now, he got a couple of them that he owned. He could say, look, I'm going to let you appoint this person. Not to say you could pick a person. This is the person I want you to nominate or pick.
Okay.
Now, would you agree or would you not agree?
Listen, you know what I've decided about this city, George? I don't know what to think. The more I learn, the more I'm confused and confounded. And so I'm paying attention now. I am just
who call you and clear your head so you can sleep on your pillow real good. You got some real good friends that I know, and they always telling you about what's going on.
Man,
but you
George.
sometimes have to be in this thing called denial.
I'm not. I'm not in denial, George. Not even a little bit. I am. So let me tell you something.
That low life and dirty. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not in denial. What I do is I go and I follow through. You all, just because you don't hear me saying anything, doesn't mean that I'm not following through and asking the questions after I get off the air. You know, it's incumbent upon me. Hold on, George. Hold on. It is incumbent upon me as the host of this show to not just unilaterally agree or disagree, but to do my own research, right? And so you've heard me say this time and again, and lots of times when you all come on here and say what needs to be said, and I go do my research, I come back and I go, yeah, they were right. And I'll tell you when I find out for myself. But what I can't do is when you guys call in, is just automatically say, yes, I agree, no, I disagree. I listen, I take notes, and then I go do my research. You all keep me working hard. It would be so nice if I could come on the air and be on here for 3 hours and not be prepared. It takes me hours to prepare. Then I get off the air with you all and I have a notebook of stuff that I've written down that I had to go back and I'm making phone calls. And so hours later, I'm still talking about the radio show it's a lot. It's a lot. So I hear you. I appreciate you. I give you the space to have the conversation. So now I'm going to follow up on how are these people appointed for the Police Advisory Commission Board, right? And what does that mean for the citizens of this city?
Nothing. It means nothing. It means nothing. It's just something. It's called pacifying people who make noise and people who just want to keep talking. Listen, it's about going in the room and really knowing what you want and what you're talking about.
Right.
You don't have these black folks. All they do is go in the room and think for themselves. They'll be thinking for the majority of people. So that's why they get treated the way they treated. Then they come to you like black people being, persecuted. Come off that. You got these idiots going in the room. And you got all these fools running their mouth. And these white folks treat them the way they're supposed to treat them. You know, throw them a chicken bone, no meat on it, throw them a little pig feet or something,
So, George, let me ask you this. In your opinion, but, George, let me ask you this, and then I got to take my next caller. In your opinion, why do you think they continue to go into the room if they're not being respected?
They don't care. This city, they don't care about being respected. They care about that yin-yang, that money. That's all they care about, that dollar. That's all, that blessed dollar. That's all they care about. All that other stuff, that's all that emotional stuff. Man, when they get out there, when they go in that room, all they ask is, what that check going to say? How much I'm getting? They don't talk about people. Then after they get the check, then they talk about, well, how much of that contract do I get? Well, you just gave her this. Do I get that? Do I get a part of it? Everything that comes through their area and their community, they get with their elected official and they get a little break off. Job here and there. And it's always about friends and family. It's never about their constituents or their community. So they can't sit there and tell me that crazy.
George, if you know all of this, George, why are we still voting for these people?
Because they don't know any better. They love it. They like abuse. The more they get abused, like all these kiss-ups, right? Just listen to some of these kiss-ups, what they say, and you find out where they live at and go look at their community. All this praising them and kissing them. Don't you hear how these elected officials, they get so bold now that they almost tell you that they don't like you and don't want to be bothered with you. And you know what they do? They still praising them and kissing them. If they stop kissing up so much and start listening to what they say and seeing what they do, they would stop that foolishness. Nobody respects a kiss up. Nobody. You get nothing by kissing up. Fighters get what they get, okay, because they're fighting and they got a real moral principle about themselves. But they kiss up, man, you can buy them off with roach spray. Okay,
and that's why the federal government keeps dancing around and hanging around in Philadelphia. I don't know what it's going to take. Thank you so much, my brother. Call me again on Thursday because I know you'll have something else for me then. All right? Talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye. Prince. You going to be nicer because I'm telling you, I feel like it's a 1-2 punch between the two of you.
It's a hard act to follow, I tell you that.
Ooh, Jesus.
Oh, there was a time ago, months ago, that we presented you a list of pastors who was advocating for the city, for the dollars that come in the city. And Leslie Callahan's name was on there. The E9 pastor name was on there. Oyster name was on there. And I don't understand the dynamic that allows them to be the autonomy or the spokesperson for us in any capacity.
Let me share this with you, Prince.
Sure.
I just had Pastor Waller on, and when I mentioned the black clergy, you had to go back and watch it on Facebook. I'm not quite sure if and I'm not putting. Let me just go back and watch it, right? And you'll see.
And I was right, because the guy that was on there, I think yesterday that you had on there speaking as a representative, I think that more of these folks cause the problems and cause the dissension than they do helping the community. First of all, I think that they're misled because they have their own premise and they're so much worried about the dollars, where the money going, the fair funding formula, and how we talk to the governor. You know, whereas you could correct our neighborhoods by doing small things, like making sure there's a bathroom in the stop and goes that you let sell alcohol in our community. Or the Chinese
they're selling a blunt paraphernalia for drugs within those stop and goes. Yep.
Let them sell that stuff, but you can't let a single mom with a 4-year-old who's trying to potty train her kid go to bathroom. You know, so you've deprived us of human life, and we can come to your church and go to bathroom. You can go to restaurants outside of the city and use their bathrooms, but you see us standing in line at deli, standing in line at pizza places, standing in line like that's a normal structure for a group of people that you disrespect and you dishonor. And then you start talking about, you know, there's not one pastor who has a church in the city of Philadelphia who pays city wage tax. How about if they paid into the city wage tax? You're making cops move back into the city so they can pay into the city wage taxes. Why won't the churches pay into the city wage taxes? I mean, if you all hands on deck looking at this from an economic standpoint and not an emotional standpoint, you know, then let all hands be on deck. You know, subsidized funding is for folks who make below the poverty threshold. And so the subsidized grants and the nonprofits who control and run and operate those things, those nonprofits are not all white. Those nonprofits are black. Some of them are black. And so if they're still participating in the capitulation of using us as pawns in this game right here, then we need to call them out too.
Okay.
So I'm not a big fan. Most of these senior buildings are tied in the churches. Every senior building in some of the urban areas, West Philly, Southwest, are tied into a church because the church holds the nonprofit status of that building while the for-profit developers build it up for them. So if you're going to help us, Andrea, then legitimately help us. Don't talk to us. Don't talk at us. You're worried about money, and you're not a politician, number one. You know, number two, you're not an advocate. You're not the head of the NAACP. You're a pastor of a church. It may be the largest congregation, but there's no large congregation during this pandemic the last year because it wasn't a church outbreak. So what I'm saying is that opposed to him and 20 other pastors, you know, being vindictive when they can and non-sociable when they should be, it takes a village. You keep saying that. You give them space to be that village. And there's no village. Like, it's no different than when the sheriff got on his forehead. You know, I appointed, I did this, I found somebody, I did this. For a task that you can't handle, when you get into a position, it behooves you to put a committee together in order to vet and appoint. When you start saying I and that ship go down, then you are the eye on that ship and take it down.
So one of the solutions you had, Prince, was something like making sure that there are bathrooms in our city establishments where people are going to stand in line and buy food. What other solutions do you have? Because you've always given us a bunch of solutions versus, you know, you have an issue, but you always have the solutions. What other solutions do you see as you see it in this city to solve some of these issues that we're having right now?
I'll give you two solutions. Okay, I'm not going to give you all of them because I don't want to take up a lot of time on other callers to call. But for every person who has gone to school and graduated, both male and female, you should do two things with them. If they have a college degree that they have to pay back off a Parent Plus loan, I have to excuse that Parent Plus loan or make sure that they have a job that has enough money to pay that Parent Plus loan back. Don't let them drive Uber and Lyft and barely make it every day. Make sure that they can at least pay back that debt that they have. That's number one. And number two, every person that has gone to college and then find themselves in a position with a degree and in subsidized housing,
it's demoralizing too, because they're told all you have to do is get the degree. Yep. And I had a conversation with a young man who went to Howard in Washington, D.C., who said the same thing. He said, my tuition was $44-something thousand a year. I don't come out and make nearly as much, and I had to start paying my student loans back. I can't afford to live on my own in an efficiency. I can't afford to buy health insurance, and on and on and on. So you're making sense. I got to...
All we're asking for is that little bit of help, Isaiah. But I'm asking for you to try to tell us what a pastor is doing with a historical church down here. And I've asked you before, some of these pastors don't even live in the city.
Yes.
So if you don't live in the city and you're not paying city wage tax and you hide under the nonprofit cloak, then that's irresponsible too. So we're not getting the dollars, and all we're asking for is legitimate help. Not talking to us about money. Especially if the next show says that we don't see none of the money that comes in here. We don't get it, we don't see it. And I think that Georgia probably, and this is many rooms as Pastor Waller is. And so you may not be putting it the way folks understand it, but he definitely told you before. And Kenyatta laughing at his constituents when she called him a liar further solidifies what he said. Because if they think we're a joke and we look at our community and you are crying out for us, you are a voice to cry out for us to get the help that we need. We had 7 killings on Mother's Day and another 4 last night. And yet, it'd be hard pressed to talk about that on air all day. We just said nothing about, we got over 700 people that's been shot and over 400 people that's been murdered. Pretty much the
and it's May. It's May 11th.
Right? Hey, you ain't got to tell me. It's a Tuesday and we listen to you. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. We take off Wednesday and we shut down on Friday. You ain't going to find us on Friday. So whatever we can do, whatever you can do to help us, help our city, we all for it. But we know some people get on this air and they use it because it rolls off their tongue. The ability to sell us out is fluent and rolls off their tongue. That's my soapbox. I'm going to hang up and I'm going to listen to other callers. I thank you for taking my call.
Oh, you're so welcome, my brother. Take it easy. More homework for me to do. Lord. Okay, Mac, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How are you?
So far, I'm a first-time caller to your show.
Thank you for calling, sir. You have an echo in your background. Do you have a radio or something on?
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm a first-time caller. I've been listening to maybe WURD for the last 20 years during the time of the sage, Dr. Reggie Bryant.
Yes.
But, Reggie always stood for truth and fact. And so when I hear some of your callers, it's just rambling off, generalities, nebulous conversation about politicians, about reverends, about pastors. Give me the facts. Put the facts on the table. Name names if you got the names. If you say you got the name, name the names. That's fact. Tell me what you got. Put it on the table.
Right.
I'm trying to guess what these callers are talking about, who they're talking about. And I listened to the show today, yesterday, several days, last week, but nobody's naming names, at least certain callers. But if you are disengaged from the politicians, you should have the autonomy and be bold enough. You should have enough autonomy, or you should be audacious enough to name the names. Put it on the table. And what the last caller indicated about even churches, it's not just churches. I think synagogues, mosques should be paying at least 2% of what they bring in. And that 2% will go to that neighborhood. So if it's 30 churches in North Philly, 50 in West Philly, small, colossal churches, whatever, it'll go to that community. So all the money will stay in that community. So if you got 200 churches, mosques, or whatever, all the money will stay in that particular community.
That's a good solution. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in, okay? All right, bye-bye. Marcella from Yaden, how are you?
Hi, Mother. How are you?
Ciao.
Listen to me. This is my first time ever calling. I love
Oh, Another first-time caller. Okay.
Yes, but I want to piggyback off of the previous caller. I agree with him. Instead of the generalization, please give us facts. Please stop. I really got disheartened when a previous caller told you that you were, wait a minute. Oh, my God, what did he tell you? Not. You were in denial. Now, that rocked my boat right there. I had to call you after that one. But I want to tell you thank you for all that you do. You're not in denial. You do a whole lot for the community altogether, and you give a lot of informative information. I just want to tell you thank you, and you have a blessed day.
Oh, Marcella, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day, too, okay? All
yes,
right,
ma'am.
bye-bye.
You too.
Oh, bye-bye. I tell you, I get up and I literally pick up the phone and I call my friends and I'm like, okay, I have to do this with fidelity. It's a lot, you know. There is so much. Yeah, I agree, Gene Smith. The solution in regards to the 2% from the synagogues, the mosques, and the churches that would come right back into the communities where they're where their buildings are, even though they have the 501c3 status. University of Pennsylvania gave earmarked millions to give back into the community where they are after people went and told them, look, you've got to do something. You're non-for-profit status and you're making millions of dollars. And so, you know, it's a lot. When I listen to the WURD listeners on the air, when I get off the air, first of all, the minute I get off the air, my phone starts to ring. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I go through all my conversations because people are calling. This is what I know. This is the meeting that I sat in. I can give you proof on X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. And then I start to Google and do my own research, right? And call on the people that I know that sits in those rooms. It is incumbent upon me to not be emotional and not be intelligent about this. I know some things are happening. There's a whole lot of backroom craziness going on, you know, and you also have to remember, I am learning. So I don't know exactly everything that's going on, but what I am doing is I am making myself aware, and I also have to know who to take the information from, because just because the information is being given does not mean it should be taken from everybody. I'm kind. I will always be gracious. I ain't stupid. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School is proud to be celebrating 20 years serving Philadelphia students. We are a public charter school serving grades 5 through 8 and located in Southwest Philadelphia. We are committed to serving the entire child and are dedicated to preparing children to be successful in school and in life. We are now accepting students in 5th grade and taking waiting list applications in other grades. Apply at www.applyphillycharter.org. You have a right to choose. Choose greatness. Choose Richard Allen.
This Word Wellness Vignette is brought to you by Keystone First. Word Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation
as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
This is Halana, your resident expert health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. Let's talk about your choice not to smoke. Now, of all the healthy lifestyle choices you can make, this could be the most important. Did you know that smoking causes cancer, heart disease, and even type 2 diabetes? Smoking is also responsible for upwards of 440,000 American deaths per year. Here's the thing. When you smoke, it becomes difficult for the blood in your body to flow freely, often leaving you tired and cranky. It also contributes to the decrease in circulation, which can severely affect your immune system. In a time where we need our immune system to be in tip-top shape to keep us healthy and safe, choosing not to smoke is one of the best choices you could make. Commit to living smoke-free today and boost your immune system in as little as 1 day. Let's choose to strengthen our immune systems, improve our lung function, and decrease our risk for stroke or heart attack by not smoking. Choosing not to smoke is something we can all do to support our overall personal and community health. Go ahead, commit today. Stay well with WURD. Happy, healthy living.
Stay well with Word. Connect with us at wordradio.com. This Word Wellness vignette was brought to you by Keystone First. For more information, visit KeystoneFirstPA.com. The Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for May is Living in Color by Tommy Davidson. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, May 11th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I've been having riveting conversation with the WURD listeners, and there is, excuse me, an article written by the Tribune, but it won't let me open it because it says I've exhausted my free article views for the month. But it's about an NAACP student group puts the spotlight on racial disparities in school discipline. These students, Springfield Township High School students, Paris Thompson, Gabrielle Green, and Candace Harrison, along with other members of the Cheltenham Brand NAACP Youth Leadership Committee, attend a Breonna Taylor rally. So these students, every last one of them, I spoke to them on this radio show, on The Source. They wanted to make sure that we looked at the disparities in discipline in the schools, especially in the suburban schools where black and brown children are really going through it. And these students have found agitators that are white students who are joining them in this fight. In Springfield Township, I also interviewed a teacher who came on to talk about the fact that parents are just being absolutely racist over there, and she gave some really good examples around that. And I also had students from Cheltenham Township where they wanted to remove the metal detectors and the metal detectors and the security guards, the police officers, out of their school buildings because they felt like they were criminalizing black and brown children, specifically the black boys. So while I can't read the article, I've already had the conversations with these young people and will continue to have them, and I am super duper proud of them. Michael, so my 220 guest is still not here yet, if I am to believe this. Okay, all right, so let me shut that down and read some other stuff for you guys that's in the news today. Do or die Democrats plan revisions. Let me see this. Philadelphia NBC 10. Wait, let me shut that down. This was happening with, the Senate is headed for a showdown. The Democrats' revision of the contentious election overhaul bill include extending deadlines, easing some rules, and adding flexibilities for states to implement it. And so there's a lot coming down the pike. The Senate is headed for a showdown over Democrats' sweeping voting rights and election overhaul bill as a key committee plans to mark up the legislation on Tuesday. The bill for the PEPA Act goes before the Democratic-controlled Rules Committee when Congress returns from recess. And so Amy Klobuchar and lead sponsor Senator Jeff Merkley plan a manager's amendment with a series of changes to the bill from the House-passed version. The problem with some of these things, if you know, because it'll sit in the Senate for a while. What I really want us to focus on is what's happening at our state levels, because the federal law changes may not happen fast enough to get us what we need to override what's happening at the state levels. And some states still do what they need to do despite what is being told. As you've seen in these last 3 or 4 years, it's not been an easy sell. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on. There's a lot happening in our communities. Let me see. Remembering Move. I have someone from coming on tomorrow Thursday, to talk about MOVE. The day was a tragedy for Philadelphia. From a national perspective, it culminated decades of American cities bombing and burning black homes and businesses, then obliterating the details from history, writes Mr. Smith. I read this article yesterday. Observation, reflection, and recommitment are impossible without a shared understanding of what happened on May 13, 1985, and why. A second MOVE commission could help get us there. Shannon McClellan Rooney, Vice President of Enrollment Management and Strategic Communication at the Community College of Philadelphia, writes that elevating awareness about the MOVE bombing requires sufficient context. A complex, relatively recent spike in gun violence isn't a reason to return to the mass incarceration regime of yesteryear, but a challenge to do better. These people also wrote. Andrea Manley says, did the NAACP Youth Leadership Commission kids tell you about the town hall they're having on May 19th? No, Andrea, they did not. They're doing a discussion on how to promote anti-racism in schools to prevent victimization of students. I'm telling you, having one of those days. And so I'll have someone on tomorrow to talk about MOVE and what that means for us. In violence, parents speak out after son sentenced to life for killing an Italian officer. In an exclusive interview with ABC News that aired Monday on Good Morning America, Ethan and Leah Elder said they're concerned about their son's mental health behind bars. Let me just do a little bit of this. Michael, I'm assuming you'll tell me when my next guests are on. Okay. Let me just, this is interesting. The parents of one, oh my gosh. The parents of one of two Americans who were convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the slaying of an Italian police officer have broken their silence for the first time since the verdict. In an exclusive interview with ABC News that aired on Monday, Good Morning America, Ethan and Leah Elder said they're concerned about their son's mental health behind bars. We just want Finn to be able to survive this, Leah said. He has a noted history of attempted suicide, and we're really worried and really concerned. He was utterly devastated by the verdict, just devastated. It was completely unexpected for him. When Elder's mother testified in court in Rome last December, she spoke of her son's suicide attempt at the Torpedo Wharf, a pier in San Francisco. Leah also told the news that the court-appointed psychiatrist also noted previous suicide attempts in report on her son. So, white child found guilty of murder, murdering an Italian police officer in Rome, Italy, and yeah, this should be interesting to see how that turns out. Moving right along. WHYY. Let me see what they're talking about here. Almost a year after Central Park Karen, the Brothers Network continues to showcase Black Birders and Artistes by Zemina Conde. It's been almost a year since Keith Russell, an ornithologist in Philadelphia, read about how Christian Cooper's birdwatching trip in Central Park went awry. It was a scene that, as someone who goes out birdwatching often, is familiar to Russell. Amy Cooper, a white woman, had her dog off the leash in a part of Central Park where birds went to visit. Christian Cooper, who is black, asked her to leash the dog, as is required in the area. Tension between birders and dog owners is not unusual, said Russell, but Amy's response was something he'd never experienced. We all know she called the police, and though the incident took place in Central Park, the fact that it occurred around the time George Floyd and other black men were killed by police made Russell reconsider ever asking someone to leash their dog. It's so interesting. So on Sunday, he's a program manager for urban conservation for Audubon Mid-Atlantic, helped a group of about a dozen people of all different racial backgrounds identify various birds and their calls at the Discovery Center in Fairmount Park. right around the corner from where I walk. The event was hosted, and so I got to tell you, we do a hike every Sunday, and up there we go into what we call the meadows. There's several trails up there. As you all know, Fairmount Park is, I believe, the second largest park system in the country. I tell you all the time, you do not have to fly outside of this state to go see beauty. It's right here, and it's within striking distance for us, and there's so much to see. And so there's a place up in Wissahickon Park called the Meadows. You climb up, you get up there, and when it opens up into this wide open flat area where there are tons and tons of birds. I saw a bird the color of a blue sapphire. It was strikingly beautiful. They're making noise. We see woodpeckers, all of that. And so what we've begun doing is using binoculars so we can get a better view of them. But there's brilliance. You know, we are not targeted. We should not be targeted to rap music, playing football, basketball, getting college degrees, and never visiting nature. We are not monolithic, you know, and we're super focused in making sure that there are all sides of us that are represented. So that's an interesting article. Let's see what else is happening. Michael, I'm still thinking we still don't have our guest, our 2:20 p.m. guest. Let me see. This just in. Pennsylvania considers replacing gas tax with mileage fees. Pennsylvania is one of 17 states considering replacing its gas taxes with a mileage fee. What does that mean? The Eastern Transportation Coalition, a partnership of 17 states, including Pennsylvania and the District of Columbia, said that currently studying the feasibility of a mileage-based user fee as a sustainable alternative to the gas tax. Under the program, a mileage counter would be placed on each vehicle instead of a gas tax. Fees would be assessed based on the number of miles traveled. Then I would be a sorry duck because I am a driving somebody. Let me see what else is going on here. 6ABC, Fossey says, it may be time to relax. Oh, come on. It may be time to relax indoor face mask mandates. Well, Dr. Anthony Fauci said federal guidance on wearing face coverings indoors may change soon. Sunday on ABC News, Fauci said that asked whether it's time to start relaxing. Fauci was asked whether it's time to start relaxing indoor mask requirements. He replied, I think so, and I think you're probably going to be seeing that as we go along and as more people get vaccinated. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention will be updating its guidance almost in real time as more Americans get vaccinated, said Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. The CDC relaxed its guidance last month on wearing masks outdoors, but still advises both vaccinated and unvaccinated people to still wear masks in indoor public spaces such as mall, movie theater, or museum, or in a car with each other. We need to start being more liberal as we get more people vaccinated, he says. Let me see. 2600. Sunday on CBS Face the Nation. Certainly outdoors we shouldn't be putting limits on gatherings anymore, Gottlieb said. The states where prevalence is low, vaccination rates are high, and we have good testing in place. We're identifying infections. I think we could start lifting these restrictions indoors as well on a broad basis. All right, Brother Phil, North Philly, how are you, sir?
All right, how are you today?
I'm good, sir. What's going on?
Well, I like your show. You know, you got a lot of intelligent people talking about the real deal, and you keeping it real. And what are we going to do about it? There is no more doubt about it. The white boy don't like us. And we got to stay out of his way or he'll kill us. Now, what are we going to do? You know, we all cousins to one another, Andrea. All of us came out of the same house. And spiritually, we're going to get it for not paying attention to it. We need to stop broadcasting his stuff. And let's start doing what our Father put us down here to do. He put us down here to do his will. The heck with this other guy. We know who he is, and we know he carrying on with the flash and the bling bling and the authority and everything. But there's a spiritually they can't touch us.
Yeah.
And we're not using it, and we're going to pay a heavy price. Heavenly Father, he loves obedience now. So I'm not going to sit up there and deny myself no more that we are not getting out of this pot using their American systems and authority and rules and regulations, because everything is set for us because of the number one problem that we had with them that we never fixed, that's still furnishing that's what they're standing on, and we've never addressed it.
But Brother Phil, let me, forgive me, sir, because I'm listening to you. And one of the things that we've also not addressed is we were so starved for being recognized for our work. When we finally got recognition, we turned it into, we became monsters, right?
That's right.
It became about, big eyes and egos and,
That's
feelings
right.
being hurt. And we forgot how people before us came along, suffered, Brother Phil. Right?
That's right.
To get us to the place where we can sit in seats of power, and we're squandering it, right?
Yes.
And so when you look around you, we talk about where the cities are being gentrified, but we have our leaders that are allowing the gentrification to happen, right? So folks are calling in, talking to them. So what I'm saying to you, sir, is we are all responsible from the top down, right? About what's going on in our city, and we have to take responsibility, because let me tell you, none of us are coming out of this unscathed. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right. We paying for it now with the body count at every sundown. Every sundown, how many today? 15. Golly, what is wrong with them? And I'm gonna tell you, when you go against your own people, it's more to it than just us. Yeah, we part of the symptoms, but it's a cause that's making. How can you get somebody to turn against their own people?
Easy. Power, money, ego.
Yeah, and authority, because the authority made the rules and regulations to make it happen. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and enjoy myself today by finishing up listening to this wonderful program by this miracle warrior, Sister Andrea. You keep up the good work, and I'm behind you because it's real. I'm not doing politics or church anymore.
It is, and we gotta, everybody has an agenda. You know what I'm saying, Brother Phil? Everybody has an agenda, and so I have to be careful. What does that look like as we talk about these things? The concern is the citizens of this city. If I am to believe Prince, 700 people have been shot so far in this city, and 400 people murdered. It is May, sir. It is May.
Yeah. Yeah, and as human beings made by our Creator, we are the only species on the planet that can fix this problem. We're the only ones that can do it. The plants, the animals can't do it. We have to stop carrying on. We have to stop believing the lies. We got to unlearn the lies. Because we're all cousins. I'm telling you, we're all family. That's why he spends zillions of dollars in division and classes. Yeah, just like you said earlier. So, we're going to have to pay a hefty price, and it's not going to be money. We ain't going to, and we better start getting real and start looking at each other as family and start and bring back the old codes, because these boys today, they broke the code. Ever since the war on drugs, all the codes, family codes, have been broken, and they're gone now. And so our code is the penal system. Hey, man, what you doing, man? You looking at me for funny, man. Everything's just cut and hustle. This like it's right out the penitentiary.
Oh, I know. Nobody has the patience. Yes, and yes.
And the honor and the what's that other thing? And the righteousness too. We Andrea, let me get off because I want to hear some other
All right, my
comments.
brother. Thank you so much for calling and for taking the time to call in.
Thank you for being there for us. Thank you for being there for us.
Yes, sir. You are so
Thank you.
welcome. All right. Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordswork.com. That's wordworks.com and click jobs. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back with our next group of callers after these messages.
Philadelphia, it's State Representative Joanna McClinton. The stakes in this year's district attorney's race couldn't be higher. For decades, the DA's office devastated black communities through brutal punishment while never holding police accountable. DA Larry Krasner has changed that in just 3 short years, while his opponent spent 35 years relentlessly pushing the policies that destroyed our communities. We cannot let him take us back. We have everything to lose. We must keep moving forward. Vote now, vote early, vote Krasner for DA on May the 18th.
Paid for by Krasner for DA.
From safe to seamless, convenient to contactless, and local to express, SEPTA is the Philly way to go. Plan your trip at iseptaphilly.com.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Just for fun, during this pandemic time, let's list some of the names you may call your moms. What names do you call your moms? You're wonderful moms. Some people say mom, mum, mommy-o, mama, mama, mother, month, sweet pea, Mimi, Pouchy, Mumsy, and Dr. Mom. Try this little game. What do you call your mom? I'm going to repeat it now. Listen, just for fun. During this pandemic, list some things you would call your mom. What names do you call her? Mum, mommy-o, mama, mama, mother, sweet pea, Mimi, Pouchy, Mumsy, and Dr. Mom. Try this little game. What do you call your mom?
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Pastor Waller, you there?
Hey, what's happening?
All right. Thank you for calling back, sir. What do you want to clear up?
No problem. Well, one thing, I think that was a really good suggestion about how nonprofits and churches give back.
Mm-hmm.
And on average, the average church gives back at least 10%. I know we do. And the pastors who pastor in Philadelphia do pay Philadelphia wage tax as well. And so I think that it's a really good thing to think about how we can be intentional around giving back. And while I don't know the exact numbers of every church, I do know that there are a number of churches and number of mosques that are engaged in specifically targeting what comes into the church and or mosque and putting it back out into tangible programs in that particular community. And so I think it's important to kind of point that out. But I think, as always, all of our institutions are not without critique.
Yes.
And it is important. So I welcome the lively conversation. But it is important to point out that on average, 10% at least. I think somebody said that it would be good if they do 2%.
2%, yes.
And most churches are in excess of that 2% model. But I do think that it is a credible critique
of all of our organizations to make sure that our programming focuses first on the community or parish where we are. And I think that a careful critique of that would be that most do. And it's highly, I want to be careful how I say that. There's a lot of benefit to even the small storefront church. There's a lot of benefit to what they give back in human capital as well. So even if it's a small storefront church that's just taking care of their children, those are some children that are being rescued.
Right.
And so I think that it's a fair critique to suggest that anybody that is operating in the community, a piece of what they do needs to come back in tangible ways to help, specifically to help the children.
Is it because, so you're saying that the churches pay city wage tax, correct? City taxes?
The church, well, individuals who work there, it comes out of our paycheck.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
just like
Because the church itself does not pay.
Well, a 501c3 doesn't have the same.
Right.
Right. They don't have the same. I want to make this right. It's not income tax, but it's taxes on purchasing the land and things of that nature.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for clearing that up.
There is a tax benefit to 501c3s, and that's true. And there is a critique that we need to be careful of how many institutions like that exist in any one concentrated area. And that's real, because if you've got a whole area that is full of social service 501c3s, and then there are not enough tax-paying businesses in that community, there is an erosion of the tax base. So that's a fair critique as well. So in city planning, we need to think about how many of those, and if they do receive that tax benefit, then we need to raise the question, are they doing the things for the good of the community that outweigh or are equal to the benefit they get from the tax structure?
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much, Pastor Wall. I appreciate your calling and clearing that up for us, okay?
No problem. Thank you.
All right. See you next week.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Woody, how are you, sir?
Well, you still know I'm still asking that question to you about who loves you, because I think you think all these other folks is in love. I don't understand what's going on here. Everybody's been calling you today, and I've been trying to get in. So next thing I know, it'll be time for a break. However, I just wanted to say that
you and I can talk for a few minutes, because I have a little bit of time.
Because what I'm saying is you got a guest coming on, so they probably will pop up. But I'm going to get my little 2 cents in. I'm not going to hold you up for long periods of time. The first thing I wanted to say is the church is not a building. The church is you. The teachings of the church is supposed to go along with us. We lost a lot of our elders and our senior residents in the city of Philadelphia, which helped a lot of these kids grow up even when they didn't have a mom or dad.
Right.
So we haven't really looked into the aspect of exactly what's going on as it relates to this crisis we're in. We're in a public health crisis. People are having mental, emotional issues who are walking around with guns. How did the guns get into the community? See, this is all about gentrification. It comes in many directions. It can come from medical health, mental health, physical health. It's in your environment. It's everywhere. When they want to get you out, they know how to do it in more than just one way. And that's what we're feeling today in our society, even down to the lack of education. That kicks it off. A kid that can't read, write, spell, or count, how do you expect them to go vote? How do you expect them to fill out an application? How do you expect them to feel like they're human beings even? I mean, they feel less than human beings. But now when they get the gun that they can put together themselves that has no number or no way to trace it, come on. We can fly rockets to Mars and bring it back, but we can't figure that out.
So let me ask you this, Woody, because we talk about education all the time, you and I.
Yeah.
You're not in any way negating the millions of black folks who have made it and have gotten their education and have done what have been needed to do, what they needed to do, despite not getting the best services in their schools, right? You're not negating those people, because there's lots of them out there too. And so what I would love to see happen is some of those folks turn around and start to mentor, you know?
Do you think they're not doing that? They're out there trying,
Yeah,
but
they are.
the money that's needed could go through those churches to give people a good 1 to 5th to 1 to 3rd grade education. It may sound like that's small, but if you get a good academic 1 to 3rd, 1 to 5th, you can get your basics. Otherwise, you're going to continue having a public health crisis, and that public health crisis is mental and emotional. It's dealing with people who feel like they're nothing until they get a gun in their hand. See, now, again, you being an immigrant, some of the things I'm saying to you, you can't go back as far as I do and remember the old neighborhoods. That's why I told you you should read Philadelphia Real Home Magazine. I did an article on page 83 of this month, and if you go online, gohomephilly.com, you'll see I'm writing about gentrification and what happens in neighborhoods. And it's not a good thing in many cases, but it was just a wonderful thing to help raise us. Our elders need respect. They need to be listened to. We would sit at their feet. That's how we learn right from wrong. You can't do it the new way. The new way is the internet. The new way is pushing buttons and you cussing this guy out, cussing that. There's nobody to guide you along and steer you in the right direction. That's why I love my elders, and I've always loved them. Now here it is, I'm an elder, and I continue to give back those things that were given to me.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Woody.
Well, thank you, too. And don't forget who loves you, baby.
Mr. Sanders will say he loves me more than anybody else.
Well, I'm only telling you, you do know somebody that does also, okay? So I'll put that in the box. Tell him I love him, too, all right?
I will.
All
I'm
right,
sure he's listening.
Bye-bye.
So, bye-bye. I know I have Miss Margaret and I have Rick from Germany. Please know that I see you. And Fran, please call back if you want to. I have some time to talk to all of you when I come back from break, okay? You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations. Because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
We do all we can to ensure our kids are happy, healthy, safe, and strong. Having high-quality, low-cost health insurance helps make that possible. With CHIP, your child can have medical, dental, eye care, and more for free or low cost. Whether you're self-employed, unemployed, or your employee benefits are just too expensive, CHIP is there for you to help your child be strong. CHIP Strong. Apply or renew today at 800-986-KIDS or go to chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Olaniyan Adefume's goal is to assist families and students that are tired of the destructive input by the coronavirus. If you are interested in a math tutor, Olaniyan is offering small, reasonably priced classes that will focus on the PSSA test. The students will have lessons, tests, homework, and a textbook to keep with PSSA exercises and explanations. Knowledge is power. Call Olaniyan Adefume 215-678-3830 for pricing information and location.
Word on Politics. As we approach the Pennsylvania primary, join incumbent District Attorney Larry Krasner and his challenger, former homicide prosecutor Carlos Vega, as they square off in a live broadcast debate Wednesday, May 12th at 1 p.m. Presented by WURD Radio. Moderated by Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check, Solomon Jones of Wake Up with WURD, and Joanne Bell of the Black Women's Leadership Council. Don't miss this opportunity to hear from the candidates for District Attorney. Wednesday, May 12th at 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Before we take these next callers, Zen Motley said, for the good of the community, if you can take care of your pets, if you can take your pets to the veterinary hospital, ask the vet to show and teach you how to raise a healthy chicken or swine or cattle for beef and leather, or talk to an islander or somebody from the continent who has done this kind of stuff. When I first got here and I had to go to the market and buy a chicken and I tasted that chicken, I was like, oh my God, this thing is not fresh. It looks fresh to all of you. It tastes fresh to all of you. But I am accustomed to having the chicken plucked and feathered and cooked right on the spot. They have to go through no processes. So it's a different taste. Anyway, Miss Margaret from South Philadelphia, how are you?
God bless you. I'm fine. I just want to call and say, I haven't called you in a while, but I'm not going to sit here and allow anybody to talk any kind of way to you. When you get opportunity, you look up the status for a 501, any type of 501 foundation to assist us. See what the criteria is to be able to receive the application. And I've been around that many times because I volunteered a long 60 years. You hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
In the 1900 block of Charleswood Street, there was a handicapped woman. Her sister had 21 kids. Her younger sister was born with no arms and no legs, basically stumps. They had her, this is in the archives of City Council under Italian administration. They put that woman in the City Council and told her, show us how you want to take care of your baby. And she showed City Council, the mayor, and everybody how she used herself, a handicapped woman on a stretcher, how she took care of her baby, and the baby's father would be there often to assist her. She won her case. Her sister had 21 children. When Octomom had her 9 kids, we had an African woman in Africa had 8 natural children. I can see many deceased ones going, but I'm not saying that's a good way to do it. But we are rearing up a nation on top of a nation. You hear me? We are still breeding. And I got in my family 8 sets of twins. You hear me? And I thank God for blessing us, and thank you, Pastor and Mr. Woody. I know you. God bless you, and keep it going on. But I want you to be strong, because some people may not understand what is going on. And God bless you. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for calling in. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, bye-bye. Rick from Germany, how are you?
Another day above ground. Another day to thank God for being alive.
Yes, sir.
I heard you talking about the chicken a minute ago, and you just caused me to throw out everything I wanted to say, and now I want to say to you, I hope you stop eating the American East Coast produced chicken altogether.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I am 55 in June of this year. I am brain damaged. I cannot count my own change when walking away from the market. You understand?
Yes, sir.
I learned to count and do arithmetic up to algebra in school. I don't remember any of it. And I pray that the young men will tune into WURD there on the East Coast and learn something, learn that education is important, and it's going to be critical the next 40, 50 years. Don't go back to the chicken, my sister.
You don't even have to worry about it, sir. I even the fish here that we think is fresh, when you eat the fish from the water, straight out of the water, versus the fish that has been transported, but they add all sorts of, you know, and it's just, the food here is very different. So I have got to tell you all, I am slowly going to be a vegetarian. I'm eating a lot more vegetables because I can taste the palpable difference in our food, and I'm growing my own food. So I'm planting my stuff, and I grow it, and I'm telling you, it's a whole different vibe right now because it's a little different. It's a little different what I'm seeing and I'm tasting. And, you know, we have to be very careful about what we see in the market that's on sale. Always on sale ain't always a good thing because you don't know how long it's been sitting, what's going on. And they have FDA guidelines that they have to follow, and yes, I get it. But something is just a little different for me based on the fact that I grew up in a place where the meat comes straight from the animal to my dinner plate, and it tastes very different from what we taste here. Thank you so much for calling, sir. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Elias from North Philly, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm hanging and banging, child. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
What's
hold
going
on
on?
1 second. All right, can you hear me?
I can
All
hear
right.
you better now, yes.
Yeah, well, you know, I wanted to continue what I was preaching the other day because I want to create an awareness that we need to call out these council members regarding what I was telling you about these stop and goes. We want to question them live, you know? And also, I want to bring up the people that we always say poverty equates to trauma, child trauma, et cetera, but we got to realize that's backwards. You know, it's the adult bad behaviors in these communities that's creating child trauma, okay, and mental illness, then eventually equates to poverty. We need to realize that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do understand. I do.
There's two types of mental illness. One when you're born with it, right? And one when you create it within your home. Okay? We have to call people out for what it is. I live hey, I make good money. Okay? Very good money not to live around my people. Okay? But I live in the community where there's all adult bad behaviors. They're not looking for jobs. They're not taking responsibility of their children. Okay? We need to call these people out the way it is. Okay,
Elias,
I'm listening.
Can I share something with you? Can I share something with you, sir? I'm glad that you called and was talking about this. This morning, I ride my bicycle several times a week. I pulled an 11-mile ride this morning, and as I pulled up to my car to get out, I see a man take out a whole box full of trash and kicked it underneath his car.
That's
and
horrible.
Before I could stop myself and I said, you best to pick that up, sir. When you drive off, that box of trash is going to be sitting there, and this city is going to be littered. And he said, you saw that? I'm like, look. And I showed him. I said, I have water bottles and things in my car that I wait until I get home, and I put it in the trash. Why do you leave the trash out here? You know, he said everybody else is doing it, sis, so I figured I could. And I made him pick up that box. Now, he's probably my age or a little bit younger, but there's something about the steel in my voice. He picked up that box of trash. But we constantly see people throwing trash out the window, whole bags of trash as they're driving along.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It behooves me.
I'm telling you, man, it makes me sick. But there's a lot of components that we really don't talk about. Let me give you one more example before I let you go, because I'm 54 years old. You don't remember? You weren't in this country back in the 70s, but there was this thing called pimps. They wore nice clothes. They rode Cadillacs, nice cars, and everything, and they would walk around with a smile on their face, saying to Aunt Miss Jackson or Aunt Miss Brown or whoever, "Hey, good morning, bye-bye. Hey, how you doing?" And you know what those pimps used to do? Give them money, and they would think, oh, he's such a nice guy. But you know what that pimp was doing? Creating prostitution in our community, dealing drugs, okay, in our community. And it's a person of our color. You know what I'm saying? And this is the same thing our music entertainment world is doing to our people. Like right now with all this gun violence, where is Jay-Z? Making, correlating all these gangster rappers together and announcing and making very essential commercials to tell to our boys and girls, okay, education is first and foremost. Stay away from guns, drugs.
Yes.
Do not, you know what I'm saying?
But
see, here's the problem. This is if they announce that, then they're defeating the purpose how they generate their money through music. Okay? They're pimps. They come to our neighborhood, donate money for a playground here, throw a couple book bags here and there, throw a couple masks in the prisons and stuff. You know? So that's a subliminal way of them pimping us. But yet their music is using the N-word, degrading women, glorifying drugs, glorifying, guns, killing. There's some devious music in that radio station that we have. And I know Power 99 is not black-owned because that's what the white man does.
It's not.
Okay?
Elias,
I got to... All right.
I'm sorry, my brother. I have a client on the line, and I have to take this call. But call me back anytime you want to, okay?
Yeah, you got
it. All right, sir. All right, bye-bye. Amia Burton-Smith is Chief Operations Officer for the Mars Car Home Health Care Agency, which has been providing Philadelphians with compassionate and individualized family health care at home since 1985. Amia, called her Amina. Amia is responsible for managing the daily operations of the agency and leading Mars Care high-performance management team. She has overall supervisory responsibility for all corporate operations and innovative executive-level administrator. Amia has over 21 years of management experience in behavioral health, education, medical, and social service settings. Good afternoon, Miss Amia Burton-Smith. How are you?
Oh, my goodness, Andrea, that introduction was absolutely phenomenal. Who is that person?
Hey, wait, I wanted to thank you, Amia, for making it one paragraph. Jesus be offense. It was easy to read, Amia.
That's great. That's great. Anything to help you out. Thank you so much for that introduction. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. So tell me about Mars Care Home Health Care Agency. Where are they located, and what sets them apart from other home health care services?
Okay, well, we are located in Philadelphia. We're located at 743 North 24th Street, right in the Fairmount area. We have been a leader in home health care, the field, since 1984, providing services throughout the Philadelphia area and surrounding counties. We focus on providing quality health care at home for our disadvantaged communities and neighborhoods, which have traditionally been overlooked in our field, which are disproportionately communities of color, as you know. We provide skilled nursing, physical and occupational therapy, and supportive aid services to patients in their homes. We kind of pride ourselves, which sets us apart from many other healthcare agencies, is we are able to service all ages from birth all the way up to, let's say, our 90s. And we provide services across three main divisions. We have adult post-hospital and long-term care, adults with intellectual disabilities, and our pediatric division. I have to mention this, which is also outstanding for us. We have about 81% of our healthcare workers are women. That speaks volumes about our organization in this day and time. And we are an organization that values our staff, and we promote education, professional development for all levels of staff, and we also pride ourselves on having bilingual staff.
What? Okay, so...
Yeah, all the way through with getting services. Caregivers can do the same thing.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
So, do you take insurances?
Yeah, we take all insurances. We also do private pay. We are, connected with Blue Cross, Aetna, Keystone, any insurance we will take. We have contracts with all of them. We also have contracts with Community Health Choices, and that's also for our waiver program.
So here's my question. I know. Listen, this is why I love interviewing folks like you, because as you talk to me, I have like these ideas. So I am of a certain age. I'm around people that are of a certain age.
And so am I.
Right? So when we're talking about hip replacement and knee replacement, would we be able to call someone like you and have our insurance pay for it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, praise the Lord. You know I'm writing the number down, right?
Yes. Let me say the number again for you. It is 215-763-3992. And yes, the insurances will pay. And again, we have people here that are organized and can actually help everyone get the services that they need. We work really well with a lot of the doctors, the primary care physicians, again, the insurance companies. We do it all here.
Right. So it says, I'm asking, so what kind of opportunities do you offer not only to seniors but to the caregivers of those seniors?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. So right now, we are offering sign-on bonuses. We have a $1,000 sign-on bonus for aides, and those are mostly caregivers as well. We have a $2,500 sign-on bonus for licensed practical nurses. We have a $3,500 sign-on bonus for RNs. That they have
Wait, slow down, because I can hear my friends texting me now that are nurses. Hold on. $2,500 sign-on. Listen, I'm Jamaican, so we come from nurses, just nurses and educators all over the place. So $2,500 sign-on bonus for practical nurses, and $3,500 sign-on bonus for RNs,
registered nurses.
Yes. Well, blow me away. You're listening to this, Philadelphia? Listen, Philadelphia, 215-763-3992. They are offering sign-on bonuses, $1,000 for aides that come in to help with the seniors, $2,500 sign-on bonus for practical nurses, and a $3,500 sign-on bonus for registered nurses to come and work in their organization. You better. This is wonderful.
You better
wonderful.
They need to call.
It's Mars Care, so it's...
We want to help the community and the caregivers.
Yes. So it's marscare.com. So it's MARSCARE.com. Correct?
Yes. Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Now here's my last... Go ahead.
Go ahead. I just wanted to add this too, Andre, if I have time.
You have time.
Know, one of the things that you were asking, also the opportunities for the caregivers. You know, what's also unique about Mars Care, many of us have social work backgrounds, as you kind of, mentioned in my introduction. The caregiver needs assistance, with housing issues, utility bills, food. We can provide resources that can help them with that as well. If a caregiver has a family member who needs in-home care, we can pay the caregiver to take care of them. One of the adult programs, the waiver program, many people know it as, or community health choices, we can hire a family member to take care of their loved one. And that's where that $1,000 sign-on bonus for aides comes to play. So I just wanted to make sure, I mentioned that. And we will train them. And all staff we train.
Wow. And we'll train. So here comes my last question, but it is the most important, I think. In the midst of COVID-19, what are you doing to ensure the health of your patients and staff?
That's a great question because, COVID is not going anywhere anytime soon. Mars Care continues to, take tremendous proactive precautions to protect, our staff and our patients. And, we want to make sure they're safe. So we do everything from providing free COVID testing to patients and staff. We make sure that we give protective personal equipment. We hand deliver the gloves if necessary, masks, face shields, goggles, whatever, they need, hand sanitizer. We make sure we do that. What we did that was really good throughout the pandemic, we provided our patients and healthcare workers with wellness kits. And those kits included masks, infrared thermometers, sanitizers, pulse oximeters, gloves, face shields, goggles, gowns, and a resource book that, if they needed any help with housing, utilities, food banks, we continue to do that. We also provided, food and televisions and toys to patients who needed help. We drove in our own personal cars and rented trolley cars to ensure that we reach every patient and healthcare worker. We want to make sure our staff are safe. again, our COVID testing is mobile. We'll come to the patient or even the healthcare worker. We have really talked about the vaccine and encouraging vaccination. We also hired a wellness coordinator to reach out to our patients and workers to check in and ensure that people have PPE that they need to access our COVID testing and to help with getting vaccinated and making sure they knew the information as to where they could go in their neighborhood to get vaccinated. So we continue to do that as an organization. It has been quite successful for us.
I can only imagine. It just goes to show why you've been around since 1985. Your business practices speaks volumes, and you're clearly adjusting and pivoting as you need to depending on what's going on around you. It is no easy feat to be around for that many years. That's a long time.
Yeah,
a long time.
Thank you.
So you all are definitely doing it. I have one last question because I thought about it as I was listening to you. You clearly need a certain level of education for the registered nurse's job and the practical nurses, the aides. What do they have to have a college degree? Do they have to have any certifications to get those jobs?
So for the aides, and I thank you for asking this question. For the aides, they do not have to have a college degree. They can have a GED or a high school diploma. Again, we train. If they need to become home health aides, we have a program here that we are able to provide a certification for home health aides. And if, you know, whenever we need to do that, we do it. We have a clinical team that will provide that training for them.
Wow, this is awesome. And your salary has got to be competitive. You're giving out these kinds of bonuses.
Oh, yeah.
If
they call me, I can tell them what the salary would be.
Listen, 215-763-3992, marscare.com. Amir Burton Smith is the Chief Operations Officer of Mars Care Home Health Care Agency. That is a tongue twister if I ever did hear one. Thank you. Thank you so much. My prayer is that people will call you. Again, 215-763-3992 or marscare.com. I got to tell you all this again. $2,500 sign-in bonus for a practical nurse. $3,500 sign-in bonus to come and work for them for registered nurses, and a $1,000 sign-on bonus for aides. You hear what I'm saying to you? This is wonderful. As we're talking about there aren't any jobs and people are trying to figure it out, you are definitely a solution in our community. Thank you so much for being on the air with me today.
Andrea, thank you so much for having us and for this opportunity and for the Inspiring Source radio show you host here on WURD. It is amazing. I was actually listening in while I was trying to do some work, and you are powerful, and I appreciate what you're doing in the community as well.
Thank you, my sister. Let me know how it works out for you, okay?
I definitely will. I'll give you a call.
Please do, because people call me back and say, all these people called, and this happened, and that happened, you know. So let's see what happens. Let's see. All right?
All right.
Talk to you
Sounds
soon.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and art organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURD.WORKS.com and click jobs. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. The rest of this show belongs to the WURD listeners. If you've never called in before, if you want to call in and just talk to me about any old thing, it will be wonderful. And thank you to those of you, you know, even when the calls come in and folks may not agree with me, I know George and Prince and the rest of them are coming from a good place with me. I'm not always right, but I do want to make sure that I'm doing the right things. And so, You know, thank you all so much. And for those of you who have called in for the first time, thank you. But the rest of this show, the next 30 minutes belong to the WURD listeners. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey folks, WURD members are invited to tune in every second Tuesday of the month with me, Nick, for a chance to win a book bundle of the newest releases from Kensington Publishing's culturally oriented Dafina imprint.
It's election season, citizens, which means it's your chance to decide on the next DA and City Controller of Philadelphia and for state and local judges. If that's not enough, here's one more reason to cast your ballot by mail or in person on May 18th. The Philadelphia Citizen will award 3 residents $1,000 each just for voting in the primary this spring through its municipal election voter lottery. All you have to do to qualify is vote. That's right. It really does pay to vote in Philadelphia this year. For more information, go to thephiladelphiacitizen.org.
Anthony Wright was wrongfully convicted of murder after he spent over 2 decades in prison. DNA exonerated him. In 2016, Carlos Vega re-prosecuted him anyway.
I was in prison, convicted of a crime that I didn't commit. Every single person that was involved was corrupt. I think about Carlos Vega, I think about the devil, I think about racism.
Vote now. Vote Krasner for DA. Paid for by Lawrence Krasner for District Attorney.
Want the latest in Word swag? Check out the shop tab on wordradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on wordradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. We have special coverage today, May 11th, Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, The Book Club, 4:30 p.m., Living in Color by Tommy Davidson. Special coverage we have coming up this week on May 12th, Tech Philly special coverage from 10 to 11:30 with Charles Ellison. Then we have May 12th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., Philadelphia District Attorney debate, incumbent District Attorney Larry Krasner and his challenger, former homicide prosecutor Carlos Vega, hosted by Charles Ellison, Joanne Bell, and Solomon Jones. May 13th, Move Anniversary. Various shows special coverage, all shows with their own coverage. Things to keep in mind this month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And May is Primary Month on May 18th. You also have the tax day, I believe is the 21st. Don't quote me on it. I'm going to look because they moved the tax day from April 15th to May. So let me just go back and do that. Memorial Day is May 31st, the day I am looking forward to because I'm going to go see my siblings. I'm so excited. So what else is going on in the news? Let me see. Well, Esperanza has been successful at vaccinating Latinos, but Black Philadelphians still lag behind. Only about 18% of the clinic shots have gone to Black recipients, despite the demographic making up just over half of the population in the area. May 17th is tax day. Thank you, Miss Shea Pugh. So it's a Monday. Tax day is on a Monday. So May 17th is tax day. Thank you, Tiffany McIntyre. All right, so that's next week Monday, y'all. Get them taxes together. Or if you're a business owner, make sure you file your extension, and you can file in October. See how that works out? Okay. Jason Lawlin wrote this. For Herbert and Ed Jackson, father and son, the decision to get vaccinated against COVID-19 has been complicated by fear, skepticism, and the logistics of receiving a shot. Herbert Jackson, 50, got his first dose on May 3rd. He's known people who died of the virus and works at a North Philadelphia paper factory, he said, and was worried about catching the virus there. No one is masked there, he said Wednesday afternoon, after meeting up on Huntington Park Avenue with his son, who just finished work as a security guard at Esperanza Academy Charter School. Ed Jackson, 24, has not gotten vaccinated. He's anxious about how the new vaccine is and was concerned about reports of a long ago tie to fetal cells being used in its developmental process. Ed Jackson takes the pandemic seriously, he said, and expects he will get the shot eventually, but he already had a close call with the virus when all 8 of his roommates caught it. For the time being, he was more concerned about side effects from the shot causing him to miss work, even though most people feel fine about a day after than about catching COVID-19. I don't want the side effects like my arm being sore for a couple of days, being nauseous, he says. I got work to do. For me to be out and staying out for a couple of days, that won't be helpful. About 3 blocks away, just 715 shots would be administered that day at the Esperanza Community Vaccination Center, a mass clinic able to offer more than 1,000 shots a day. Esperanza, run by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, but supplied by vaccine by the Philadelphia Department of Public Health, was established in North Philadelphia specifically to address low vaccination rates there. Though vaccination rates lag citywide, Black and Latino populations have suffered a disproportionate toll throughout the pandemic. About 26% of Black Philadelphians and 27% of Latinos have been vaccinated so far, according to city data, compared with 55% of Asian Philadelphians and 45% of white residents. And so, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm running into folks black folks, who are saying, well, you know, I haven't gotten the virus yet. I don't trust the vaccine, XYZ. I don't tell people what they can and can't do if you choose not to take the vaccine. That is completely up to you. Just know that, it's all right, Miss Allen. I see you. Just figure out what works for you and understand that there are consequences to everything that we do. So it's totally up to you. Vaccinations, again, because of advancement in artificial intelligence. You heard me interviewing some gentlemen from WHYY who have a podcast around AI and how much it has been able to do. We have come a long way, people. Sometimes we don't pay attention to it, but artificial intelligence, I was telling them how I would go to the doctor's office, to the lab, and they were like, can we just take a scan of your palm and that'll give us all your, no, can't take a stand about. I'm fighting it with everything in me, but artificial intelligence is everywhere and doing just about everything. In Jamaica, it is your palm and your fingerprint, and we carry a card. We now carry a card as a national of the island. So it's a lot. There's a lot going on out here, and they're able to find and identify you much faster. We loved it in the beginning because of the convenience of it, but when we started to realize that people were being misidentified through facial recognition tools, especially for black and brown men, black men especially. There was a piece about a black man who spent 10 days in jail because they did the artificial intelligence, the face recognition tool, and it wasn't him. And, so now he's suing, So there's a lot going on out here. Just be aware and be vigilant. Kuz said, I got my first shot, made sure my whole family was vaccinated, and I have to get my second shot, and I can't wait to go to Jamaica. First stop. All right, now say hello to my people. There's also been reports that people have gotten their first shot and have not gone back to get their second. Please understand that if you take the first shot, the second shot is just, it gives you that extra boost that you need, and the second shot is really more important than the first one, right? And I'm also going to tell you, as someone who took the vaccine, that there are some side effects to it. You get a little bit of achy, you get sleepy, you're thirsty. That was for me personally. It may be very different for other people, but that only lasted a few hours. So for me, it was worth it, right? I am traveling. My husband, has asthma, and so it was just not worth it to not take the shot in our house. Do what works for you. Brother Spread Love, how you doing, sir?
God bless the child of love. Manners and respect, Mama Andrea. How do you guys stay today, Mama?
Oh, I all right,
So we give thanks for life,
Yes, sir. What's up?
And God bless. I just want to call and say love. God bless up all the WRD family. Brother Mike on the boards, always doing an amazing job. God bless everyone suffering.
Yes,
and
sir.
everyone working to make it better.
Yes, sir.
God bless up all the incarcerated, especially incarcerated falsely. Free Mumia. And Mom Mama, I just want to say thank you again for your show and your work.
Thank you.
It's always banging.
Y'all must hear my frustration and my exhaustion. Every time Michael's like, Andrea, you just got to hold on. I absorb all of what you give me, and I think I need a small break. I have a vacation time coming up soon. I'm going to take it and really decompress, right?
Whatever you do.
Yeah. Doing this work, Brother Spread Love, takes a lot out of you. Anybody that thinks it's just, you just get on the air and spout off a bunch of stuff, because we literally have to, if we're taking it seriously, we're doing a lot of research, and we're asking intelligent questions, and then we have to go back and follow up and do some more reading and stuff. So it's a lot, it's a lot.
Well, you're invested.
I am invested in people. I am invested in making sure that you all get what you need.
And it's a trying time.
Yes.
On our people and on the planet.
Yeah.
So may we all be blessed with the refreshing.
Yes.
It says in the scripture, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And also, I wanted to say this real quick. You didn't include these days in May. Today's the anniversary when Brother Bob passed forward, rest his soul.
Yes.
Please play some Bob for the people.
All right, I'll let Michael play some Bob for the people.
And also, May 19th is Malcolm X's Earth Strong.
Oh, really? May 19th, Malcolm X? Okay.
And Bob and Malcolm is tight, real tight.
Yes.
I can tell you about that later. But last Tuesday, I didn't call. I apologize. Too much going on with me as well. It was Jacob Miller Earth Strong. Oh. And the anniversary when Coxon Dodd passed forward. You remember Sir Coxon Dodd?
Yes.
Studio One. See it?
Yes, sir.
Foundation.
Yes.
So just want to commemorate some more who really put forward upliftment for we people. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. And May 13th is the anniversary of the MOVE bombing.
Yes, we know. And Mama, all these tragedies we suffer. May God bless us to overcome and rejoice in your victory. We all say, praises and pure majesty of King Ali Selassie Jah, Rastafari.
Ever living, ever faithful, ever sure. Hey, Michael, you went to play us some Bob Marley going into the last break, man. Brother Spread Love done got me started. All right, Lola from Jenkintown, how are you?
Yes, hi, Andrea, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on, lady?
Well, nothing much. I just wanted to say it's always good. You always put on a good show, and I hear that it seems like you give everything that you have to us, and it takes like hearing all the stories and everything. It's like you live it, and so it takes inside of you, and we can see it. Like when I sometimes watch you on YouTube or when I listen to you, I know that you're really in the fight for our people. And I wanted to say, like, I know you're a Capricorn too, so I know that you're fierce and you're doing a great service for everybody listening. Really, all the whole star, and especially the women, because we got to have the power, the girl power out here to get the message across for the women. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And you probably do need, you have to sometimes, as much as we love our job, we have to depress from it sometimes. So you just probably need a little pick me up, a vacation with your husband. Take some time off, refresh, regroup, and then come back. You know what I mean? And I think that's what it is. But you deserve a vacation. I think everybody does at this time, and then come back, regroup, and then you'll be right on point as you always are.
Thank you, Lola. The goat in me is strong. I'm a strong Capricorn.
I know you are. Listen. I'm a Capricorn too. I said, I see why who she is. This is the true goat right here.
Lola, if I drop my head and lift my horns, it's over.
Yes, I know that's right, Miss Andrea. So I just wanted to speak on everything that's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it affects me too. It does. It really affects me. It's like just everything gets into you, and sometimes you just got to get away from it. But I feel like we're in the fight of our lives for the soul of this nation. And I think that the thing is, how when they say, okay, it's going to get worse before it gets better, I think that's what we're in now. With the Republicans trying to do the voting laws, with all the killings, with everything that's going on, everything seems like it's coming at us all at once. But I think this is the fight that we're in. This is is the battle that we're in to see where we're going to go as this nation. And I think that is what's going on. That's why everything seems so dire, because if it's every day, it's one thing after another. We got the voting. We got now we got the DA thing is on the line. We have the killings. Now they're going after the boys riding the ATVs. We see now we have the young woman who works for the Department of Defense was pulled over on the Virginia Beltway, spun around and arrested for no reason. I mean, this woman had a top clearance with the Department of Defense and was arrested for nothing. And so, exactly, that's what I'm saying, Ms. Andrea. It doesn't matter. And we are right now in the fight for our lives and the fight for the soul of this nation. But I want all of the black people, everybody out there who you know, the white people, whoever, to know that we have to keep on going. Our ancestors did not lay down and die. Our ancestors kept walking to school with no shoes, kept sharing that one dress, kept living in that shack and to make it better. And just because it seems like there's no way out and it's dire, you have to keep going. We cannot sit back and not vote in these midterms. We cannot let the FOP rule the city of Philadelphia and let Vega get in. We cannot do this. And black people, please get out and vote. Don't give away your right, because everybody who I know that's black, I don't care if you're upper class, middle class, lower class, somebody in your family has went against a judge. Somebody in your family has went against law enforcement. And if we keep giving up our vote and letting people in, we're saying we don't care. Let the judge that's on there that's going to give your child 50 years for for probation. You know why? Because you didn't get out and vote. So I just pray that we keep fighting and not. I know we're tired. I know it's just too much every day, but we have to keep fighting. Our ancestors didn't give up, because if our ancestors gave up, we wouldn't be where we are today.
You're so right. Miss Lola, I want to thank you for calling and encouraging my spirit. You have no idea. Thank you, my
You're
sister.
a wonderful person, and you just need a little vacation, and that goat is going to come back stronger and stronger, and we need you on this air, okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good one.
All right,
okay?
Miss Andrea, you have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. Brother X, I'm about to cry. Miss Lola has me all choked up over here. How you doing, Brother X?
I'm doing without. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Sister Andrea, I ain't talked to you since Heck was a puppy, but I listened to you. Tell your husband to put that shotgun down. I'm just talking. Shout out to Brother Spread Love for spreading me to love. I want that boy to stop that. He brought a tear to my eye. Now listen very carefully, people.
Yes, sir.
The process. You might want to write this down, because it's very telling. The process of understanding or perceiving a coming evil put many people into a situation of the utmost danger. That simply means, people, the masses of human beings that was exterminated in the past, they never saw extermination coming. They saw bad, cruel things being done to them, but they had no idea that the people that was doing these things to them had plans to exterminate them.
Yes, sir.
This is where we are right now. We are dealing with a worldwide system of racism and white supremacy. They have exterminated humans for over 2,000 years. We are next. They are finished with us. That's why they put in Donald Hitler. He was part of the plan. The World Trade Center buildings, those are 110-story buildings. They was blown up by explosives. That ain't rocket science. Ain't no plane hitting no 100th floor of a 110-story building. Make it come down like a waterfall.
Yeah.
They did that to start a phony war on terror.
Yeah,
They blew
so
up
much.
the federal building in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
What
Brother
they're
X.
doing, they are Yes, ma'am.
I'm not disagreeing with you, sir, but I've got to take a break. So thank you so much. Call me back, okay? Call me back
Okay.
another time.
All right, neighbor.
All
Thank
right, my brother. All right, talk to you soon. You are listening to The Source. I have Maurice and Tyrone. When I come back from the break. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit, but my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Ooh, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book.
Breakthrough of Greater Philadelphia is a free academic enrichment program providing 7th, 8th, and 9th grade students with high grades and motivation. Join them June 28th through August 6th at Germantown Friends School. For information, call 267-255-9651. The Pennsylvania Horticultural Society supports WURD and presents the 2021 Philadelphia Flower Show, Habitat Nature's Masterpiece, June 5th to 13th. Now blooming outdoors for the first time ever at FDR Park in South Philadelphia. Safely enjoy 15 acres of blooming gardens and artful floral displays, shopping, entertainment, and new food and beverage options, including park picnics and beer gardens, taking place outdoors this summer. Tickets and details available at phsonline.org.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison of Reality Check and City Council Live. Still feeling a bit worn out from the 2020 election? We're not done yet. 2021 is another important year when locally you have the power to pick Philadelphia's district attorney. Who will it be? The current DA and incumbent Larry Krasner, or former assistant DA and challenger Carlos Vega? What we know is this is a closely watched bellwether on the future of issues such as mass incarceration, policing, and public safety. If you want to have a direct say over these issues, simply vote in the upcoming primary on May 18th. If you have your mail-in ballot, you can vote by mail starting May 11th. More information can be found at the Philadelphia City Commissioner website, phillyvotes.com. Continue to follow at onWURD and hashtag WordOnPolitics for analysis and updates while tuning in to WURD Radio for special election coverage. Don't talk about your vote, cast it.
Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit WURDradio.com.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Michael played a song that sits in my soul every time I want to give up. Listen to what Bob says. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop at the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? They're all I ever had. Redemption songs. Come on, y'all. Come on. Tyrone, how you doing, honey?
Hello, Mother.
Hey, darling. What's going on?
Belated, Mother.
Thank you, honey. What's going on?
I am wonderful, Mother. And you know what, Mother?
Yep.
Thank you for being Mother Earth. And I hope that what was said in the background didn't go across the air. But anyway.
Yes, it did go across the air. You always do that to me.
He said he's a Capricorn like you. Matter of fact, his birthday is the day after hers, you said? Day before his. Here's the third and yours the fourth.
Well, tell him I said happy Capricorn Day, because you know, we good about this now.
Well, that's Brother Jay Simon. But, Mother,
hey,
let
brother,
me say.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, tell Brother Jay I said thank you, and thank you for reminding us that the Capricorns, the goats, are everywhere. Okay?
All right, well, look, he's one of my guiding lights, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have folks that keep you anchored. And Brother Mr. Simon is one of those brothers that keep me anchored. Mother, first of all, peace and blessings and much love to my WURD family.
Mm-hmm.
And, Mother, I just thank God that out of all the treasures and the beauties and the things that he has given us, he gave us mothers. Because mothers is the cradle of civilization.
Yes.
They are the essence of love. And mothers is that thing that I don't care how far you fall down, she's always there to lift you up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just thank you for being Mother Earth, Mother. And Mother, thank you for just taking care of all our children. I'm telling you, are God sent when it comes to our children.
Love
now,
the babies
the point,
now. Love them.
The point I want to make, Mother.
Mm-hmm.
God
got 3 minutes.
What was her name? Zola?
Who?
Because she had the spirit and the energy and the power and the fire that we need to have right now. Now, I'm saying to all my brothers and sisters, everybody that call up to say, some politicians ain't doing nothing.
Right.
The pastors ain't doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying to everybody, right now, we are winning in the political battle. We finally got to the point where we have overcome all the things that those Republicans have put in place to keep us from voting. And
but we can't let our guard down, though.
There we go.
Tyrone.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what they have done in these 47 states that have created all kinds of legislation. Because, see, what folks don't know, that over the past 20 and 30 years, the Republicans have been putting all kinds of things in place that had given them the power that they have. And now we are taking it away. So please, my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, please, I don't care what they do or how they do it, don't let them turn us around now, because we are winning.
Yes.
We are winning the political battle right now. And to my brother from Chicago, yes, we don't see it coming. We didn't see them coming, hanging, the hanging. We didn't see them coming when they killed the 12-year-old and shooting down the 13-year-old and choking people to death. No, we didn't see it coming. But where we are right now, we're in a process that we are moving some of the stuff that they had put in our way.
Yeah.
We're
So Tyrone, I love you, darling. I gotta go because I got one last person. I have to be on there.
I said all I have to say.
All right. Well, thank you, my brother. Love you. Give your wife my regards, man.
I most certainly will. You know,
All
we
right.
love you.
All right. Bye. Love you too. All right, Maurice, you're my last call for the day. What's up, my brother?
I prescribe to the book of Tyrone. That's my brother, and I agree with everything. You know, this move day coming up is going to be hard on me because I was there that day.
You were in 1985 when that bombing happened.
In 85, my best friend lived on that block. My other best friend, his father his job was to watch the house. They assigned him a house right across the street from the move house, and we used to bring him lunch every day. Now, Move could have saved their children, but they didn't because their children came out every morning and went to the park. If the cops did what they supposed to do, if they knew what they was planning on doing, they could have scooped them kids up. But they didn't. Once they put that bunker on their house, I'm sorry to say it, and nobody will. I always tell the truth. They condemned themselves. They was looking for an excuse to do something, and he gave it to them. I'll be honest about that. But let me get to the last point. Is Sheriff Bilal. I love Sheriff Bilal. But let me tell you something. Sheriff Bilal and the city people, they played a game with us. They tried to act like they was arguing about putting that stuff online. I told Mr. Jones this morning, I said, look, city council doesn't argue with the sheriff. That was a game set up. That was already done. That was signed, sealed, and delivered. That was just to make us think that city council cared about us, but it wasn't true. So I'm just letting everybody know that was another game they played because the mayor runs the show here. And if city council say they didn't want that to go down, all they had to do was go to the mayor, but they didn't. That was already delivered. And I'm going to leave with that one. Tomorrow, let's stop playing games. You know Larry Krasner belong where he need to be at. If you want to go back to Lynn Abraham, act stupid and vote for the other dude. See you later.
I love Maurice, listen, these callers, straight no chaser. I just love them to pieces. I want to thank you all for another good episode of The Source, for continuing to hold my spirits up so that I can make it to vacation time. You know, we went through a year of pandemic, people getting very sick. We had to do the presidential elections. We were covering all of that. We covered so much on the air. And I ask that you give us a little bit of grace as we continue to do the best job that we can for each and every one of you as we come on each day. We've covered COVID-19, first the testing, now the vaccinations. Oh, also want to tell you, because people are getting ready to travel. I've gone into the post office and people are applying for passports, honey, left, right, and center. So in order for you to travel outside of the country, although I got to tell you, places like India, please, 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 there's a virulent strain there and they're dying by the thousands. COVID has not disappeared and COVID is airborne. So don't think that because it's in India, it can't come over here to America, which is why we keep telling you all, do what you can to help yourselves, right? But in order for you to travel outside of the country, you must get a negative COVID test. Yes, even if you have been vaccinated, you must get a negative COVID test 72 hours or less before you get on the plane. Otherwise, you will be denied access to these places. Some places are saying you don't have to get a test to leave, but other places are saying that you need to get a negative test in order to get on a plane to come back. So while there are things going on there, you know, you want to make sure that you follow all the protocols. I am in the process of reading the 600-page city budget. That should keep me up and awake and asking questions and highlighting for a long, long time. You know, but we're here. We're doing what we're supposed to do. Coming up next is Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Michael, thank you for holding me down. Brianna, thank you for holding me down. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.